Reports from Tel Aviv that a number of Gulf states are reconsidering their neutrality after being on the receiving end of Iran strikes.
The Gulf states, including Kuwait, the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, they've received 1,000 of those bus-sized missiles. And now we're seeing that they might have to enter the fight. Just a few minutes ago, we got word from the UAE that they reserve the right to self-defense. That could mean that they could send their own warplanes to fight Iran, to join Israel and the United States.
And Secretary of State Marco Rubio warns that the strikes are escalating.
We're going to unleash Chang on these people in the next few hours and days. You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the intensity of these attacks as, frankly, the two most powerful air forces in the world take apart this terroristic regime and defang it and take away its ability to threaten its neighbors.
Secretary Rubio has again briefed lawmakers on Capitol Hill about the war with Iran. Democratic Senator Cory Booker saying of the strikes,
all of this is happening in the context of a president that continues to thrash the Constitution and not come to Congress for any kind of authorization for these.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says he will appear before the House Oversight Committee, which is investigating ties to late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. CBS's Linda Kenyon.
The chairman of the committee says Secretary Lutnick will appear voluntarily for a transcribed interview. Representative James Comer said, I commend his demonstrated commitment to transparency and appreciate his willingness to engage with the committee.
The high-stakes midterm elections are underway, and a lot of eyes are on the Texas Senate primary. On the Democratic side, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett faces State Representative James Tellerico. Rice University political science professor Mark Jones on the possibility of Democrats winning a Senate seat.
If controversial Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is the Republican nominee in November, then if you combine that with Donald Trump's low approval ratings and the Democrats nominating a top-tier candidate, that could be the perfect storm that leads to a Democratic victory.
CBS's Jim Krasula has a look at more criticism of highly processed foods.
In a wide-ranging study of preschoolers in Canada, researchers found that the more ultra-processed foods a child was given, the more likely they were to have behavioral and emotional symptoms by age 5. The researchers suggest that such a diet could even affect the child's long-term mental health.
Ultra-processed foods account for nearly half the energy intake among preschool-age children in Canada. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening.
If you're suspending construction on new jails, that proposal before the King County Council today. More on that, but first, Nate Connors at the traffic desk.
All righty, it's about a 20-25 minute commute northbound I-5 through downtown Seattle. You're packed approaching the West Seattle Bridge past I-90. Again, at Mercer, across the Ship Canal Bridge, there's about a mile or so clear patch in between. South 5, we're starting to fill in from Northeast 50th in the U District to the Convention Center. Not a big backup here. Linwood to Seattle, less than 20 minutes. Down in South Park, northbound 99 at Holden, a disabled vehicle blocks the right lane. This is just before you turn left there to get onto the First Avenue South Bridge. Up in Linwood, South 5 at 405, road work continues to block that right lane of your off-ramp. Traffic will start to slow at 128 to 405, but you're at freeway speeds here. Southbound 167 is thick in the south end from State Route 18 into Sumner. Seattle to Federal Way, we're at 35 minutes. Your typical backup from Tequila just into Des Moines past State Route 516. And minor backups at the First Avenue South Bridge from recent marine traffic. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granello. A domestic violence call today ends with gunfire and a suspect shot and killed by police. It all happened this morning in the town of Algona.
Police say both incidents involved just one family at a home near Milwaukee Boulevard and 5th Avenue Northwest. The first 911 call came in at 9 o'clock for gunfire inside and outside the home. Algona Police Chief James Scrimpture with the sequence of events.
When the officers arrived, there were 2 victims that had been shot, and a suspect was still firing off rounds. That suspect was engaged and taken down.
The victims, a 14-year-old and an adult woman, their injuries not life-threatening, and as you heard, the gunman is deceased. In Algona, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
A proposed year-long pause on detention center construction in unincorporated King County went before the council today. Sponsor Teresa Mosqueda supports that freeze.
I don't want our communities to lose trust in their local government.
What Councilmember Reagan Dunn tells the Jason Rand Show on Seattle Red, there is no need for that moratorium.
It's performative politics. We call it bullhorn excess. It's not necessary, and it could be potentially very dangerous.
Seattle City Council will take up its own version of that plan next week. Another power outage suspending light rail service on the east side today. Sound Transit says the 2 line is down from South Bellevue to the Spring District Station until further notice. Shuttle buses are taking passengers for now. The Seattle Times reports no sign of copper theft as the agency works to find the issue. Clock is ticking now for the Seahawks to re-sign their Super Bowl MVP.
Ken Walker III, 2 big explosive runs in this drive.
Team did not use their franchise tag on Walker, missing today's deadline to do so. That means Walker could become a free agent on Monday. If no deal is reached, he's free to sign with another team next Wednesday. Now to your weather updates. Looking at cloudy skies and increasing rain for this afternoon and more rain for this week. Right now, 55 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Hi, you've reached the John Curley Show listener introduction line. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you enjoy the show. Thank you.
Hey, John, I think this is Frank out in Gold Bar. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that I always thought maybe these recordings were fake and not by real people until yesterday. I heard my neighbor out here in Gold Bar compliment you guys on a world-class show. And I just wanted to tell you that, hey, you guys are definitely spot on and definitely a class act and definitely a world-class act. So, Hey, keep up the great work. Hey, Frank out in Gold Bar, my neighbor, I won't tell you who he was, but I heard him, and believe me, I believe you more than ever now. Take care, you and your team. Bye now.
We're big in Gold Bar. They're loving us in Gold Bar. They can't get enough of you in Gold Bar. The point of that voicemail is not to be like, puffing us all up there before the show. We don't need any of those, what do they call people get you all excited?
Bluffers?
Yes.
We want brutal honesty is what we want.
That's not us. Come on now, Andrew. That's easy for you to say behind the bulletproof glass. All right, here we go. Diving into the news, John Curley Show. Joe is handing me what he believes is all the news. Is this it?
That's it.
Update on Pigeon?
No Pigeon update.
No? Okay. Let's see. Lives Crossing. My monologue. AI. By the way, you can't copyright stuff if you make it with an AI. Reagan Dunn's going to join us as well because there is the ongoing story of what you're supposed to do with the kids that are committing crimes in King County. And Joe had to sit through 2 hours of the King County Council meeting.
And counting.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to skip the rest of it because I want to get to this story. Hang on a second, see anything else in here. Oh, Larry Ellison telling a room full of investors why mass surveillance will make society behave. Yeah, that's true, but
I'm not for it.
You're for misbehaving?
If that's what pleases you.
Do people do what you inspect or what you expect? People do what you inspect. Everybody's on their best behavior. What do we lose? What do we gain? All right. Right. Let me do this story real quick because I got a guy I want to get on the phone. I was thinking. When we were teenagers living outside of Philadelphia, and we wanted to get drunk, we would drive over the Ben Franklin Bridge in Camden, New Jersey. There were a bunch of bars on Admiral Wilson Boulevard, and it was a rough neighborhood, if you could call it a neighborhood. There was a place called Minnie's Bar and Go-Go. It was a strip club, and for some reason they let us in there. The fact that it was so lawless around there allowed us to drink with impunity. I remember one night around 1:30 in the morning, we were coming home and the car broke down on the side of the road. And a cop drove by, not to help us, but just tell us to better get the hell out of there. If I had met Tony on that street, just on the other side of the bridge, I don't know if he would have been as friendly as he was at the Fred Meyer parking lot at Issaquah last year. That's where I got a chance to meet Tony. And it was strange because I thought of him on Saturday when I saw that the United States and Israel had begun to bomb Iran. Tony.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Good, my friend. You know, isn't it strange that we meet again this way? You could have met me on Admiral Wilson Boulevard if the car were broken down. How do you think that would have worked out? You were probably you were 17. I was going to be 16, 17. Wouldn't have been so good for me, right?
What are you talking about? 81, 80?
Yeah, right in there, 80, right in 81? There, right in there, Tony.
Yeah. Well, the question is, John, what were you doing on Admiral Wilson Boulevard?
Well, I was looking at naked women and drinking beer. You got a complaint with that?
No, you were doing more than that. You're not telling the whole story. What about full disclosure there, John?
We're not going to get into that. What we're going to talk about, it wouldn't have been good because that was a rough neighborhood, and white boys coming over from Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, going into Camden, New Jersey, we were probably sitting ducks. And especially with am I right or wrong, Tony?
Only at nighttime.
Right.
But it was the same thing for anybody from Camden heading into Woodland or Gloucester or any number of towns in southern Jersey at the time.
Statistically speaking, you had a better chance of surviving being in Lebanon, Beirut, 5,700 miles away from Camden, New Jersey, than being in Camden, New Jersey. And at the age of 17, you joined the Marines.
Yep.
Why, Tony?
Well, why did I join the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
It's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to serve my country. I always wanted to, actually, tell you the truth, it's going to sound a little bit corny. I wanted to be like John Wayne, Sansa Iwo Jima. You know, I was enamored with the history and the accomplishments and the esprit de corps of the Marine Corps, and I wanted desperately to be a part of it.
Did you think you had Marine Corps, whatever the Marine Corps needed? Do you think you had some of that at that time?
I hoped I did. Nobody wants to fail at anything, but if you don't try, you don't know. And so from the age of 11 onward, you know, I would study all the uniforms of not only our service members, but our allies, learn to identify planes and ships from the silhouette, memorize, you know, everything that you wanted to memorize or that you needed to memorize going into the service if you wanted to call it a career, if you wanted to make a career out of it. Yeah.
You're 17 years old. You probably didn't know a lot about international politics and stuff. So when they told you were going to go to Beirut, Lebanon, what were your thoughts?
That's what infantry Marines train for, John. That's what we train for. And you know what? Everybody going over there, our morale was high. Spirits were in great shape. We were well trained. We were well led. You know, and we had the United States of America at our back. So had no worries.
What was happening at the time was there was great unrest, almost civil war breaking out. The United States, Ronald Reagan sent the Marines in sort of as peacekeepers to be there in Lebanon, hoping that it would just sort of quell any kind of conflicts that was happening. Certain groups that were there would take shots at you, pot shots at the Marines, but you were never allowed to fire back.
Unfortunately, that's true. And, I mean, several times, you know, you get shot at. You had to call up on a landline to get permission to come down off of the post with the express knowledge that as soon as the firing ceased, you had to get back up on there to show that we weren't afraid. But there were rules in place where we were allowed to defend ourselves only under, you know, the harshest conditions. But, yeah, we had rules in place. And some of them were nonsensical to a bunch of us on the ground, but we're Marines. We do what we're ordered to do.
There's a handmade sign, the No Shoot Back Cafe. There was a little sign there
Yep.
that you just sat there, let them take shots at you because it was all about a peacekeeping mission.
Right. We're part of the multinational peacekeeping force. Right.
Yeah. And here's why I thought of you on Saturday when the war broke out. Iran was funding these terrorists there in Lebanon, and they just didn't want Americans there, and they wanted to show they could control what they could control. So at 6:22 a.m., so there's a truck that comes in. It's got a 2,000-pound bomb, and it's got flammable liquid all around it, and it goes right past the gate and drives right into the lobby, right to the front of the lobby. And at that point, historians and scientists will tell you, Tony, that this thing was the biggest non-nuclear explosion since World War II.
I know it well. Unfortunately, I know it well. And that truck didn't just go around those barriers and ram into the building. It faced a couple of Marines that were restricted by the rules of engagement that we had to operate under. And they did the best they could, and unfortunately it wasn't good enough.
One Marine said he saw the guy come through the gate, look over at him. He looked at him, looked him right in the eyes. He said the guy gave a little bit of smile, pushed down on the gas and drove that thing in, parked it, and then detonated it. The entire roof of the building, it was all made of concrete, flew 40 feet in the air and came back down, created a 13-foot crater, and taking the lives of 241 U.S. service personnel, 220 Marines, 21 as well. There was some sailors in there and some folks that were serving in the Army. Where were you at the time?
My company was I'm sorry, you bring that up. You can't just talk about that building without a mention of the men that were inside of it.
Right. I'm sorry.
I wasn't No, I take no offense, my friend. You're just speaking the facts. But just put a little context on it. There were good men there. All of them set out to do their country's bidding, to protect American interests and the people and the lifestyle that we live back at home. Sorry.
That's all right. Tony,
But I'm sorry, John. To answer your question, I was at the American University of Beirut, which is about 3/4 of a mile away when the blast went off. Yeah. The blast was such, I was just leading my fire team off of duty, and concussion was such that it actually knocked me on the ground. And I organized my team, and we raced up. They had a series of stairs that led up to like a moat that went around the building, and we went up there to see if we could see, what had happened. And we see folks frantically trying to raise the BLT, the building that got blown up, our headquarters company. They were trying to contact the BLT on a landline, but there was only static on the end. And when you looked over, all you saw was a giant double mushroom cloud. And, we knew it wasn't going to be a response.
It's all, you don't apologize for that. Tony, the reason I wanted to talk to you, first of all, because you were the first person I thought of when I heard the war started. And I thought the war didn't start. The war started, you go back to the time, 79, when they took American hostages. And then when Iran decided they were going to terrorize parts of the Middle East, and in particular blow up those Marines to show that they weren't afraid of anything. I thought of you because anytime anybody pulls a trigger in honor of their country or sets off a bomb, There's somebody like you, some kid from Camden, New Jersey, who's 17 or 18 years old, who has to receive the other end of it and see somebody die or they themselves lose a limb. It's about the human being. So that's why I thought of you.
Well, exactly. Well, thank you for thinking of me with that. But you said it perfectly fine, my friend. It's about the people that are on the ground. It's about the other 17-year-olds and the 20-year-olds and the 25-year-olds and 40-year-old Sergeant Major Frederick Douglass. It's about all of us. It's about the Marine Corps. The one thing that people know when they see one Marine is that all of the Marine Corps is behind them, and all of the United States is behind the Marine Corps. And you're right when you say that the Iran's actions, started, before then, 79. But I'll go back even further. Now, first, before I do, are you certain that you want me to talk about this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, if you want to go back and just being equitable with the truth, you go back to 53 when, what was his name? Mossadegh was elected, democratically elected to the presidency of Iran. And he wanted to nationalize the oil fields. And there were a couple of countries, the United States and the UK, that didn't think that was such a good idea. So things, United States and Britain do what the United States and Britain do, and he's gone.
Yep.
And we installed the Shah.
Yep.
Yeah. And the Shah wound up being a brutal dictator. He modernized the country in a lot of ways, but he oppressed the people in many more ways. And, during that time over in Paris, there was a guy named Khomeini who was, to discuss what you were saying before, hyping up the revolution.
Yes.
Or the fact that there should be a revolution. And eventually it came to a head, and the revolution occurred, and the hostages were taken.
Yeah, there's always so many layers to the stories, but Tony, it still gets back to somebody like you standing there, and whatever the reason is, you sign up for the Marines, and when they tell you go over that hill, or they tell you get down that hole, or they tell you to go in there and take that building, you do it. So,
and we do it well.
Yes, you do. Well, listen.
Yes, sir.
I am so glad you answered my call. I'm so glad I didn't meet you on the streets of Admiral Wilson Boulevard back in 1981. Tony, I love you.
I love you too, John. Hey, thank you for having me on, and I apologize if I ruined your podcast by not sticking to the script that you didn't give me. But all I have to say is I think you're a really cool guy. That's why, I took the time to talk to you, and I was glad that you took the time to talk to me. And, I hope you continued success, my friend.
Thank you, Tony. I'll call you after the show.
Sounds good.
Back to work with you.
All right. Bye-bye.
How about that?
Great interview, man.
I met that guy at 6:30 in the morning at a Fred Meyer parking lot.
One of those deals?
Just no car trouble.
Just talking to him. Yeah. Help me with my car. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it is. Nice guy.
Yeah, great guy. I'll call him after the show. All right, here comes Nate checking traffic. Nathan.
Home Comfort Alliance here in Seattle. It's 20 to 25 minutes commute north 5 through downtown. Scattered backups approaching the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal. Very typical. South 5, we're filling in from Northeast 50th down to I-90. Linwood to Seattle, right around 20 minutes. Our lake bridges are wide open. Westbound 520, you'll jam up at Montlake Boulevard. Seattle to Everett, 35 minutes. Bellevue to Everett, 40. We've got building volumes between Kirkland and Canyon Park. Up in Linwood, South 5 at 405, road work still blocks the right lane of the off-ramp, so traffic starts to slow at 128th to 405, but you're close to freeway speeds here. Seattle to Federal Way, 35 minutes. Renton to Puyallup on 167, 45 minutes. And westbound 18, it is solid now from the Valley Freeway over to I-5. Looks like we may have a new collision as you approach Weyerhaeuser Way, adding to this. Last year was one of the hottest on record. Get efficient heating and cooling with a Home Comfort Alliance heat pump for the price of AC. Don't wait. Visit homecomfortalliance.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, the first place you turn for the news you trust.
Seattle's new mayor is laying out a big vision.
She offered few specifics.
Engaging conversation.
Has anybody noticed their electric bill? It's diabolical, Ursula.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
They are bringing the Lombardi back to the Northwest.
Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app. Always here, always with you. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
If your home is 20 years old or more, it might be time to have your roof inspected. Your roof is your home's first line of defense, and at Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation, we'll help it last as long as possible. Our trained and licensed crew will evaluate your roof, repairing when we can, and offering replacement options only when necessary. Plus, every new install comes protected with a full year of free maintenance on us. Visit GuardianRoofing.com today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy and your car can be picked up by tomorrow. Call now or go to carsforkids.org.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Hey, it's Jake Skorheim. March is the start of spring, as we all know, and my outdoor to-do list is already growing. Fortunately, Valentine Roofing has my back and yours when it comes to checking off those honey-do list jobs. And with Valentine's huge March promotion, they're not only going to take care of you this year, they have you covered for next year too. This month only, you can get a free year of roof maintenance when you purchase a new roof. Then you can enjoy seasonal checkups and professional care to keep your new roof looking its best. Plus, they have flexible financing with payments as low as $159 a month. And the Valentine experience, as we all know, seamless communication, meticulous cleanup, and extra mile service. So it's no surprise that Valentine Roofing was voted 2025 Gold Best Roofing Company in the Seattle Times Best in the Pacific Northwest Awards. To take advantage of Valentine's free year of roof maintenance when you purchase a new roof, call 206 Roofing. That's 206 Roofing. And remember, when you see the red Valentine van, you know your home is in good hands.
Jackson Hewitt handles your taxes and your stress. Inhale our no surprise price of $149 or less. Exhale, paying more for complicated taxes. You won't. Inhale new tax law knowledge. Exhale, missing out on your biggest refund? Certainly not. Don't miss paying $149 or less. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know you can't cook. You're not one of those people who say that they can, but when people come over for dinner, they find out the hard way, you can't. You can't even microwave popcorn, and that's literally just one button. Plus, measuring and patience are huge parts of cooking, and that's just not you. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pricing coverage match limited by state law.
You're losing your hair and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all three like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
Jackson Hewitt handles your taxes and your stress. Inhale our no surprise price of $149 or less. Exhale, paying more for complicated taxes. You won't. Inhale new tax law knowledge. Exhale, missing out on your biggest refund? Certainly not. Don't miss paying $149 or less. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
This is Carla Hall for Eggland's Best. Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. We've got classic, cage-free, organic, free-range, and pasture-raised. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Some lawmakers on Capitol Hill say they are not satisfied with the reasoning behind the attacks on Iran. Among them, Washington Democrat Pramila Jayapal. She met today behind closed doors with Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
There were a lot of references to the 47 years of Iran being a problem. That is not imminent. That is in the past. Imminent means immediate threat to the U.S. That was just not addressed at all.
CBS's Nancy Cordes was there as President Trump explained his decision to strike Iran.
He said that he was watching these negotiations play out between the U.S. and Iran, and he became convinced that Iran was going to attack the U.S. The problem is that appeared to contradict what his own Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, had just said on Capitol Hill the day before.
Now, how are everyday Americans viewing the war? CBS's Anthony Salvanto is gauging reaction across the country.
Americans do not feel like they have been given a clear explanation of what the U.S. goals are. 62% say they have not, that they have not been given a clear explanation. What is important about that is this. They don't necessarily think this is going to be a short conflict.
And as violence intensifies across the Middle East, the bill for U.S. missiles and airstrikes is mounting. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey with reaction from one Iranian-American state representative.
State Representative Daria Faravar supports a leadership change in Iran, but worries military action is now killing hundreds of civilians across the Middle East. She also fears backlash against Muslims here in the U.S.
I'm deeply, deeply concerned about backlash on not just the Iranian community, but also the Afghan community and anyone who's perceived to be Iranian or Muslim right now.
Over the weekend, a lone gunman reportedly wearing a shirt with an Iranian flag killed 2 people and injured 14 others in Bellevue. There are reports of a person flashing a pistol at protesters. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Downtown Seattle hotels kicked off 2026 with a decently strong January. Hotels sold more than 250,000 rooms. That's hitting 54% occupancy. Visit Seattle says total revenue also reached nearly $46 million. That is the biggest year-over-year jump since late 2024. Downtown can thank the Seahawks for that. Their 2 home playoff games help drive up revenue, particularly on weekends. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 3:33. Here's Nate Connors.
All right, Aaron. This one brought to us by the Emerald Queen Casino. If you're through Seattle, 25 minutes to get through northbound. We've got scattered backups from the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal. South 5 is getting thick now on the Northeast 50th in the U District to I-90. It's about 20 minutes from Linwood to Seattle. Our lake bridges are wide open this afternoon. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett, about 40-minute commutes each way. I-5 looks pretty good once you get over the Ship Canal Bridge. 405, we do have building volumes again through Kirkland into Canyon Park. In Linwood, we just cleared that long-term road work, South 5 at the 405 off-ramp. So that backup in South Everett into Linwood is going to start to thin out pretty quickly now. Bellevue to South Center, 25 minutes. You're heavy through Bellevue from 520 through Factoria. Seattle to Federal Ways, a 35-minute commute. Westbound 18, you've already thinned out. Your backup starts closer to Weyerhaeuser Way now over to I-5. And Tacoma to Olympia, 35 to 40-minute commute. Get ready for a night of hard-hitting MMA excitement with WFC 190, April 25th at the Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
We'll see rain throughout the night and then more showers for tomorrow and again into Thursday. Right now, 55 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
When I think of home and I think of comfort, I think of home comfort. And I think, where would I be without heating, cooling, plumbing and electric.
What about air?
Well, the air's free. Oh, you mean air conditioning?
Yes.
Well, that's heating and cooling.
Oh,
But good question. Any other questions?
Aaron?
Nope.
No. Okay. No. Cut and dry right there.
Thank you.
By the way, nice voice. This is the
This is the day after the auction.
All right.
So, Boys and Girls Club in Reno, Saturday night. 1,700 people. I think it was 48 lots, 2 hours and 10 minutes on stage. But Monday doesn't sound bad,
No.
but Tuesday's always bad. I don't know what that is.
Same thing happened in the NFC Championship
You know,
game.
it is.
You were
It
fine
gives you
on
sort
Monday.
of a gravitas. One would expect with a professional broadcaster like myself. But I'm just a quick moment of like since everyone is still talking as well they should, and we just did the stories on Iraq and Iran and things like that. I'll just give you a quick little bit of history here. So Iraq and Iran battle for 8 years, right? And Iran at this point is really tired, and they realize we got to have a whole different plan if we're going to do what we want to do, which is we want to move religion into these areas, and we want to lead with religion and get clerics to go into Iraq, and let's take over the Middle East, and let's have a new way of fighting. So what they decide to do is Iran starts to move to Iraq, Kuwait, and they're moving throughout the Middle East, and they decide, I know what we're going to do. We're going to make it impossible for them to fight us. We're going to plant terrorists all over the place. Hezbollah, Houthis in Yemen, and we're going to make it we're not going to give them any ground where they know they can come into Iran and we're going to battle something out. And we're going to fund all of these guys, and they're going to destroy, and they're going to create mayhem and just generally disrupt the order of everything. So Iran funds all of these little spider groups that are throughout, and they go across this thing called the land bridge, which allows them to move weapons and personnel from Iran through Iraq, Kuwait, and just generally through the Middle East into Jordan. They're able to go into Syria, and they're to the north of Israel with Lebanon, to the south down to Jordan. They are everywhere, everywhere. And in a way, Iran is able to always push a button to create some sort of mayhem, to be always part of what's happening in the Middle East, to create disturbances. And yet they always have to be considered. That was after their big 8-year war with Iraq. And this will be the problem for the United States and Israel, because now you got to get in there to the same sort of fighting that we had in Gaza. Now you got to get in there. You're going to get into Yemen. Well, how do you do it? How do you stop it? And the same thing outside of Syria and in Jordan. How do you pull these terrorist groups that are broken from Iran, still being funded by Iran, and they're so fluid and so mobile? That will be the problem. So when you hear this is going to be over in 4 or 5 weeks, this is exactly the way Iran, much like, in Vietnam, where you all of a sudden had guerrilla fighting and you would have guys who were deep in it in tunnels and stuff. You couldn't get them out of there. Very similar, but this is tunnels, but above ground, but the same sort of warfare that's happening in small spots. There's not just one place to go and get. As long as the funding keeps coming in, you're going to continue to be able to fund Hezbollah and Houthis. You'll be able to fund all the various little factions of Iran. And that's going to be the problem.
They got literal tunnels, too.
And they do have tunnels as well. Yeah. So, anyway. In other news.
You want to hear some text about Tony?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. By the way, I say this. When I called Tony and he said, well, nobody wants to hear from me. I said, no, they do. What am I going to say? I said, Tony, it's just you and I are having a conversation the same way we had that conversation in the parking lot of Fred Meyer. That same thing. Go ahead.
Don in Tacoma says, Semper Fi, Tony. And thank you, John, for making that happen. Ben, the security consultant, what an exceptional piece. Tony's story, the truth about Iran's murderous history needs to be told, as well as the relevance of the huge sacrifice and dedication our servicemen and women made. Thank you, John, for that excellent piece. 360 says, thank you for your service, Tony. We owe you and all the other men and women before you a great debt. Layla says, I'm crying with you, Tony. Thank you for telling these stories, John. Let Americans know what's really going on. Karen Cadle says, Semper Fi, Tony. And they just go on and on. So many Semper Fi's for Tony.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's and I like how at the end there, we didn't have time for it, but this is not a mess that we were not involved in making either.
No.
And we do all this history stuff, and we talk about all the CIA, dark ops that create all these situations, and we just end up having
You get BP.
That's right.
You watch Landman, and it was Billy Bob Thornton says at one point, it's all about oil.
Yeah.
Everything's oil. It's all energy. You can do whatever you want to do, but everything moves on that thick brown liquid. It's all oil. And it's oil, it's money, and it's money, and it's oil. And how do you control that oil? Because once you control the oil, you control the world, right? Because the cost of everything is moving around with that oil. We're not like just sitting there going, oh, what do you know? It's a shame. Why don't we should get in there and help those people.
We've been making kings and dictators and switching them out.
Right, BP was getting that one guy in there and somebody else gets in there. Oh, Tony was able to finally just like, hey, look, here's the deal on this.
Right. God bless him, though. What a story.
Yeah, great guy. And we'll call him after the show because it's so fun. And again, this speaks to my motto, which Joe's always like, oh, my God, who'd you talk to this weekend? I met that guy at 6:30 in the morning at a Fred Meyer parking lot. It just started raining. I think it was just started raining. It finished raining. I'm chatting with him and stuff. How old are you? Where are you? Well, Camden. Oh, my God, I'm from Philly. We used to go to Camden. Yep. Oh, yeah, we talk about it. Like that, the whole world opens up to you.
Yep.
You don't have to do a radio show. And by the way, we didn't tape that. That was live. So thank you, Andrew, for putting that music in there. And for Tony, who knows what he was going to say. But we could have talked for a very, very long time because he is an extremely bright man. And after I met him the first time, and I thanked him very much for the conversation, and I found it quite remarkable, his sort of point of view of the world. And then he wrote me back, thank you for caring enough to ask questions and listen. Food for thought, a poem I've remembered since middle school that has haunted me ever since. This is off the top of his head. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in its petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools with ways to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle, life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. And he wrote back, I still have that from memory. Wow. There you go. All right, here comes Nate checking traffic. Nathan.
Here I am. Seattle Sports has the update. Here in Seattle, we've got a half-hour commute now, North 5 through downtown with scattered backups approaching the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal Bridge. That's a pretty solid backup at this point, actually. South 5 is actually thinned out since our last report. You're going to slow near 520 to I-90. That's it. Linwood to Seattle, less than 20 minutes. Westbound 520, you're all clear till you hit the Arboretum, and then it's bumper to bumper over to I-5. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett are both 40 to 45-minute commutes. I-5 does pretty good. Once you get over the Ship Canal Bridge, just a little crowding developing in Shoreline into Linwood. 405 is starting to get heavy between Kirkland and Canyon Park. Let's see, Bellevue to South Center, 25 minutes. Seattle to Federal Way, 35. It's slow from Interurban Avenue down to State Route 516. And really everywhere else is starting to slowly fill in, but not looking bad. Southbound 167, you are thick from State Route 18 into Puyallup. Search Seattle Sports on YouTube and click subscribe to get fresh video content daily. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Nate Connors.
All right, with organization comes a sense of peace. When I think about how something's disorganized, even if they've done a study where if a picture frame is slightly off skew, it throws people off and somebody always wants to sort of straighten it back up again. The same thing happens in your own house. You think about the junk drawer where there's a bunch of stuff in there, or maybe that closet where there's a whole bunch of stuff just falling out every time you open it up. You don't even want to open the closet. pretty good chance whatever you're looking for is in there, but oh my gosh, you got to wrestle through coats and boots and hats and anything else that might be there. That's exactly what we were living with there at the barn in Cle Elum until I said to Nick, go ahead, let's bring somebody in. Let's get a closet company in here. But I don't want the first one that pops up on Google. Find a local company that's been around for 22 years. Let's get them in here to customize. And man, oh man, did they do a job. Closets by Design came in and they helped work with us from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock and completely redesigned all of our storage spots. We got the best design without the gigantic price. You know what? Closets by Design will give you a 40% off, plus an additional 15% off on 18 months financing and free installation. These guys are the best. Closets by Design. 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's 1-800-BY-DESIGN.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Olympic Hot Tub is clearing our warehouse. This is a rare chance to save thousands on in-stock hot tubs and get big savings on saunas and swim spas. Find our warehouse clearance savings in all 8 Olympic showrooms through March 8th. More at olympichottub.com.
Hey, it's John Curley with Dr. Kopstein from K2 Vision RLE. Doc, I heard that 50% of Americans have their lenses replaced by the time they're 75.
That's exactly right, John. As we near 50, our eye's natural lens starts to become dysfunctional. If you've now added readers to your need for glasses and contacts, it's a sign the quality and function of your natural lens is fading, and it's a steady decline towards cataracts.
Don't go another 20 plus years with poor vision, hassling with contacts and readers. Do what I did. Choose a quick, painless refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision RLE and start enjoying great vision now.
Our new lens technology is truly amazing. After replacing over 100,000 lenses, we have the experience to guide each patient to their best solution, even if that's recommending you wait a little while before RLE.
K2 Vision RLE can restore distance and near vision permanently, plus never develop a cataract. Read the reviews and schedule a free Zoom consultation now at k2visionrle.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Whether you've done some preparation already or you're just beginning to plan for your retirement, it's never too late to make sure you have everything covered. Elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayach joins me. You have an opportunity coming soon that will help answer some important questions, don't you?
We do. And every month we take 3 or 4 opportunities to go to the communities and educate people about what proper retirement planning is. The notion of retirement planning around having a hodgepodge plan, working with a financial planner, a lawyer, a CPA, a doctor, those pieces by themselves are not going to give you the results you want in retirement.
And you and the LifePoint Law team want to teach us about the Safe Harbor Trust?
They do. The single biggest financial threat in retirement is an uncovered medical illness. A Safe Harbor Trust, it should be a must in most of these estates, but is not.
Be part of the next seminar in Tacoma on March 10th, Bellevue on the 12th, Federal Way on the 14th, and Everett March 17th. Learn more and secure your space at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
You're 62 or older, lots of equity in your home, and you want to pull some cash out, but a refinance or HELOC, well, it means a bigger payment. And the cost of selling your home, it's insane. So what should you do? Hey, Brock Ewart here for Tila Mortgage. You don't need to live at a lower standard than you deserve. You really got 3 options. Number 1, sell your home. 2, get a HELOC or refinance. Or 3, get a reverse mortgage. Tila has done the analysis and believes that a reverse mortgage is the most cost-effective way for seniors to get cash out of their homes without selling and having the option of no monthly mortgage payment. Too good to be true? No. Call today and let's compare. Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a name you can trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Give them a call today. 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
TILA, TILAMortgage.com.
Insurance and property taxes are borrower's responsibility. TILO Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
Underestimating the trucking industry is one of the biggest mistakes I see victims and other lawyers make. Trucking companies have an army of lawyers and experts who act quickly after an accident to protect the company. Only an experienced trucking accident lawyer can navigate the complicated federal and state laws to protect your rights. If you or a loved one has been injured in a trucking accident, call Davis Law Group today for a free consultation or get my free book on trucking accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
During the lockdown, when everything was all screwy, and you'd go into some restaurant after you did the little kabuki dance where you put the mask on, put the mask off, and the server comes over after everything's all wiped down, there's plexiglass everywhere. And when it came to the tip, you're like, yeah, well, I kind of made it through. You know, good. How are you doing? Oh, I'm all right. I'm just trying to make it through. And you tip big on the thing because everything was all kind of up in the air, right? Now, it's been since the lockdown? 4 years? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
People still tipping, but there's tip fatigue. People know this tip fatigue has been going on for a while now. But still, there's the 20% service charge. I heard G and Ursula, although Ursula wasn't there, they were in there talking about the tip service, the service charge, 20%. And I was like, yeah, they throw that 20% on there, really kind of whacks you a little bit. You start to think, well, what am I getting for all that? But do people continue to tip? I'll just give you some quick little reference, and this is not unusual for people that are under the age of 50. If you go out to dinner 150 times in a year, which is probably not unusual for people, that's 3 times a week, you will spend about $2,250 on tips. The difference between 18% and 20% is $520 a year. That's a lot of money. And people are like, well, yeah, just throw that tip in there. I have a basic rule. To me, when they spin that thing around, it would be like if they picked up like a tip jar. You know, a tip jar I used to use?
Oh, yeah.
And they just picked that up and shook that right in your face. Here's your coffee. Shake that tip jar in your face. Yeah. That's what that thing is like when they spin that thing around. I don't. My rule is this. If you're engaging and you're not giving me the corporate, welcome in. How's your day? What are you looking forward to? If you give me that crap, you get nothing. But if I get something unusual or different or whatever it is, I want to pull up to Starbucks. I said to the guy, because I refuse to speak Italian because we're not in Italy, so it's not a grande. Don't give me that. Oh, venti. Can I have a venti? I'm not in Italy. So I go, I'll take the giant one, the biggest one you have, the big giant coffee, whatever. Venti, I'm sorry, I don't speak Italian. I just want a giant cup of coffee. So I refused to bend to it. And as I came around the corner, the guy goes, oh, I was going to give you the giant one that you put on the side of your car like Fred Flintstone had with the ribs. I was like, now that's worth a tip.
Aha.
See that?
Yes.
You get a tip for that one.
Well, creativity.
Now this welcome in. How's your day going? I always say the same thing. I just put my cat down.
Yes.
But are people tired of tipping? Yes, I would say they're tired of tipping. And when when people complain, I got to pay a service charge. Well, were you all in on the minimum wage? Did you think that people needed a higher wage? Well, there you go. There's a nice one for you.
Well, and the tip fatigue on.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm buying something at a convenience store.
Oh, I don't get that.
I mean, come on.
What did you do?
Yeah, nothing.
Did they not pay you? I had a friend of mine worked, I can't say the name of the place because the IRS would go in there. They didn't pay him anything. It was all tips. They didn't make any money. My friend Stephanie. I was like, did they pay? No, they didn't pay us. We had no paychecks. We just got tips. I said, well, what'd you do? Oh, we made sure we pour those drinks really hard. Yeah, heavy hand. That's how people made the money. That's illegal, isn't it?
They don't pour them like that anymore.
Yeah, well, I can tell you where to go. But first, here's Nate checking traffic. Nathan.
Most of our major routes have lighter than normal volumes this afternoon. In Seattle, it's a half-hour commute, though, North 5 through downtown. You're looking at scattered backups approaching the West Seattle Bridge to the Ship Canal Bridge. South 5 is pretty thick now at the Ship Canal Bridge to I-90, but Linwood to Seattle still just under a 20-minute drive. Seattle to Everett, Bellevue to Everett, plan on 45 minutes on both routes. I-5 looks great after you get over the Ship Ship Canal. Just a little crowded through Shoreline into Linwood. 405 continues to have building volumes between Kirkland and Canyon Park, but nothing real heavy yet. Bellevue to South Center, under 25 minutes. It is heavy through Bellevue from 520 through Factoria, and then it opens up for you. Seattle to Tacoma, a 50-minute drive. Your usual backups from Tukwila into Des Moines. You'll catch a little break, and then it gets heavy again, approaching 320th into Tacoma. Renton to Puyallup, southbound 167, plan on 50 minutes. Pretty solid now from north all the way to the south end. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
Two competing budget proposals. Senators want to be aggressive, they say.
Traffic.
We have a stall on westbound 16.
Conversation.
If they pass this thing and Governor Ferguson signs it into law, I think there's going to be a mass political sea change in Washington State.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
They're bringing it home again.
Broadcasting live from the KIRO News Radio YouTube channel. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found tax relief advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
You know, it's frustrating. You work your tail off for 40 plus years. The government takes 30 or 40% in taxes. Then they turn right around and waste it. Americans are getting fed up, and that's why they're taking advantage of tax planning. Charlie Harger here. Tax planning could significantly reduce your taxes, not just for 1 year, but for the rest of your life. Learn how much you could save in taxes when you retire with free retirement tax savings analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000, schedule your free analysis now by calling 206-210-1350. Don't pay the government one more dime than you need to. You need to call the team at Boss Retirement Solutions. Call 206-210-1350. 206-210-1350.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice.
I had pain, I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug, and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. I mean, just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
The John Curley Show.
I can't wait till I get a little older, be the really crotchety old guy, getting close to being eccentric. As my mom used to say, I don't make enough money to be eccentric. I'm just middle-class crazy right now.
Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube.
Staples has hot deals on everything for your business, like up to $125 off your print order. Ends 4/18, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The Department of War announces the names of 4 U.S. Army Reserve soldiers ages 20 to 42 who have died in Kuwait while supporting Operation Epic Fury. They are Captain Cody Cork of Lakeland, Florida, Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore of White Bear Lake, Minnesota, Sergeant First Class Noah Teachins of Bellevue, Nebraska, and Sergeant Declan Cody of Des Moines, Iowa. So far, a total of 6 service members have died and at least 10 have been critically wounded. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth briefed members of Congress behind closed doors about the war with Iran. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal said afterwards he was more fearful than ever that the administration may put boots on the ground.
I also am no more clear on what the priorities are going to be of the administration going forward.
Republican Representative Nancy Mace.
If ground troops get involved, I think that's a very different conversation. That's not where we are today. That's not what I heard in the briefing. And again, I won't go into details because it was classified. I feel very good and very confident about where we are, roughly just over 100 hours into the strikes and this conflict.
Many Democrats called for a public hearing.
CBS Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto on how Americans view the war with Iran.
Americans do not feel like they have been given a clear explanation of what the U.S. goals are. 62% say they have not, that they have not been given a clear explanation. What is important about that is this. They don't necessarily think this is going to be a short conflict.
The 2026 midterm season is underway with voters at the polls for primary day in Texas, North Carolina, and Arkansas. CBS's Ed O'Keefe is in Austin, Texas.
They've seen record turnout already in early voting. We're still assessing what the turnout has been like so far today. There have been some issues in Dallas and Williamson counties with some confused Democrats on where exactly they were supposed to vote. One of the things Anthony and his polling unit has been doing is assessing what Republicans and Democrats are looking for as this midterm campaign season begins. And one of the findings of those polls among Republicans is that they still expect loyalty to the president.
North Carolina polls will remain open until 8:30 p.m. Eastern in Halifax County only after earlier delays in voting. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defends the immigration crackdown during testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee. North Carolina Republican Senator Tom Tillis has called for her resignation, citing allegations that Noem has blocked an inspector general from investigating 10 complaints against the DHS.
That is stonewalling. That's a failure of leadership, and that is why I've called for your resignation. And if I don't get an answer to these questions, I don't want an applause. Please don't do that for me.
This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Carol came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Jack. Coming up, a domestic violence call ends with a fatal shooting by police in Algona. That's after Nate Connors at the real-time traffic desk.
Hey, thanks, Aaron. Really no surprises as we get into the 4 o'clock hour here in Seattle. We're up to 40 minutes now to get through downtown Seattle on northbound I-5. We've got a solid backup near the Michigan Curve across the Ship Canal Bridge, or, of course, Revive I-5 blocks 2 left lanes. That's with us through June. You can save some time by hopping into the express lanes. And right now, northbound 99 looking really good through downtown. Southbound I-95 gets heavy at 520 to I-90. Linwood to Seattle's less than 20 minutes. Seattle to Everett, 40 minutes. You're slow through Shoreline into Linwood. Bellevue to Everett just sprang up to a 55-minute commute. We've got building volume starting at I-90 now in Bellevue all the way into Canyon Park. Bellevue to South Center, 25 minutes. Seattle to Tacoma is a 50-minute drive. Pretty solid now from Interurban Avenue all the way into Tacoma. And Renton to Puyallup on southbound 167. Plan on 50 minutes. This one's pretty solid as well from Renton all the way into Puyallup. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo. Neighbors in the city of Algona woke up to an early morning shooting that left 2 people with minor injuries, including a 14-year-old. KIRO News Radio's James Lynch reports the suspect is dead.
Algona police say it started with a domestic violence call with shots fired. A Pacific police officer arrived, found the gunman still firing his weapon. He opened fire and killed the gunman. Fernando Rubio saw it happen from across the street.
We hear one shot go off, then we look over towards the area, and there's a guy wearing all black with a rifle on his right-hand side.
Independent investigators will now gather evidence and try to figure out how it all started and why. In Algona, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
King County Council just voted to enact a 1-year moratorium on new or expanded detention centers. This applies only to unincorporated parts of the county. Councilmember Teresa Mosqueda introduced the proposal.
I don't believe that it's within the public's interest to allow for the creation, the building of systems, detention facilities that further isolate, intimidate, or cause harm to people.
Councilmember Reagan Dunn was one of 2 members to vote no. He tells the Jason Ranch Show on Seattle Red.
It's just a way for super progressive politicians to try and solve a problem that isn't a problem by, thumbing their nose at the federal government.
Seattle City Council is expected to vote on a similar plan next Tuesday. Man accused of throwing rocks at passing cars in South Seattle was taken to jail early this morning. Police say he also threatened to assault and even shoot officers. This happened around midnight near Rainier Avenue South and South Henderson. Couple was hurt when their truck window shattered and 2 Metro buses were also damaged. The city of Seattle has to pay the Seattle Times $160,000.
The city has to pay that money to settle a lawsuit brought by the Times over public records requests related to the firing of former police chief Adrian Diaz. The Times says a judge ruled SPD grouped multiple requests from the same person. And that slowed things down, and that was illegal. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
And now to your forecast, looking at rain across the region tonight and into tomorrow, staying cloudy with highs in the low 50s. Right now, 54 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Hi, you've reached the John Curley Show listener introduction line.
Yes.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you enjoy the show. Okay. Thank you.
And now, your fortune with Carol Kravitz.
Oh, good.
Expect to feel several bone tremors and be perceived by all around you to be a disgrace. You will be in an accident involving a screen door and a Randy man.
Okay, I think it was meant for you, Joe.
A Randy man?
Yeah. Whenever she calls, it's never good news whenever you hear her on there after she snuffs out her Camel Light. I sound like that right now, too, as a matter of fact. Don't I with the voice?
Yes, you do.
I'm telling you right now, these things are going to kill me. They're like nails in the coffin.
No doctor would ever smoke.
It's going to be the death of me. So weird. That's Joe. That's Joe's gross voice. Yeah, all right. When did they pass this thing, this Keeping Families Together Act? Must have been during the whole George Floyd stuff. Because I was reading what the lawmakers were saying with Keeping Families Together.
2023.
Yeah, so the law objectively was simple. They didn't like the fact that disproportionately black and indigenous kids were removed from those homes and sent into the foster care system. Let's keep them in those homes as long as possible. So let's make sure that they raise the legal standard. In order to remove, it can only happen when there's imminent physical harm rather than subjective risk. So they put it in place because they didn't like the fact disproportion. Whenever you hear the word disproportion, the person should raise their hand and say, I don't have an argument here that based on logic. They didn't like the fact that you get a kid who's indigenous or black taken out of that home. They wanted to make sure, because the kid would then be taken into a home that would possibly the foster care mom or dad could be white. Ah! Oh no! Oh my God! Better off keeping the kid in the house, surrounded by drugs, and then dying. That was more important. And this thing has blown up in their faces. And they're not willing to admit it, that they need to do something about this Keeping Families Together Act, or keep them together just long enough to bury the child. So Republicans in Washington State have been pushing in order to get a change. They had a hearing. They offered all sorts of amendments. And now here are the best of the worst of the worst of the best. Reaction to this. So first is Josh Penner, right? Talking about the lawsuits that are going to be coming. Don't forget, 95 kids, I think, have died in 1 year. So that means the state of Washington, to keep the kids together, because we don't want to disproportionately, we don't want to be considered racist. Let's send the kid back into the house where the parents are doing drugs, and then they die. And now someone's going to get sued.
The Keeping Families Together Act is a drain on this budget. You may know, if you look a couple hundred pages into the budget, $42.9 million in excess lawsuits are budgeted to come out of DCYF coffers, out of the amounts that we're going to appropriate here. $42.9 million in lawsuits related to dead children, dead and dying children. Some of those children are still alive, but some of those children were beat to death because of the imminent physical harm standards in this budget. They were beat to death by hammers. They were smothered by their parents. They found pills and swallowed pills and died.
Let's make sure they're beaten and killed by the people that are the same race as they are, because that's the most important thing, according to the people that wrote this. Because that was their main thing was like, no, it's not fair to them. It's not fair that we pull them out of that house. It's not fair. What's not fair is to the kid who's dead. That's the person. And to society that loses the possibility of an individual that could change people's lives. But we got to keep them all together in the same house because that's not fair.
I think that Washington State is so messed up in our...
This is Stephanie Barnard.
...priorities. If we're unwilling to spend the money necessary to take care of the most vulnerable of our population. I mean, if I could, I would take all of them. If CPS was overwhelmed with...
Yep, you can't. You're white.
...their caseload, and they don't have enough staff to look into these incidents where there's open drug use, domestic violence, child abuse, neglect. It's incredibly irresponsible to not make this a top priority.
So they're there on the floor, given the stories, because don't forget, they want to get enough Democrats to come over to them with the amendments that are offered in order to change this law.
There was a incident in my district last year when we were in session, I believe it was in February, where they found a 7-month-old had died of starvation. Do you know how long it takes to starve to death? Social workers go to the doors of these homes, knock on the door. In this case, she wasn't there at all. Wasn't there at all. No peep out of the kids. When they got there, the 7 months dead of starvation, the 2-year-old had been eating his own feces. This has to stop. I'm not willing to accept a promise. We're not going to promise. Otherwise, 1 year from today, there's going to be another 100 babies dead.
That's Representative Deb Majaras. Telling the story. It takes you go 3 minutes without oxygen. 3 days without water, and 30 days, I think, is without food. Another rep.
You know, I was in foster care. And I will tell you that is one of the areas that
I may not be able to hold my composure. When I was 10, that's when my stepfather came into my life. And in 5th grade, I got my first black eye from him. And you know what the state did? They had him sign a piece of paper that he wouldn't hit me again. And they provided services to us. We got a lot of counseling. So we had a lady would come out, and she'd counsel us. And I'd say, he's still hitting me. Till I get another black eye. And the kids at school will make fun of me and say, Michelle, you keep getting into fights. And yet, we got more services.
The lawmakers that had passed the Keeping Families Together Act, supporters argued that kids do better when they remain with their family and communities, and that the system should avoid unnecessary disruption that could historically affect families of color more often. So, keep them in the house and just call the coroner.
If there's still fentanyl in the home, it is a danger.
Travis Couture.
And it's against the law. And we want to say provide a lockbox in that parent's home.
Hey, this is crazy. Is this still being discussed? Oh, yeah. So I've said this about 50 times. Here's what the plan was. So the mom and dad or whoever's in the house that's supposed to be looking after the kid, if one's addicted to drugs, or let's say they both are, they're supposed to have a lockbox given to them by the state of Washington. So our tax dollars buy them a lockbox, and then they are basically counseled. Now, here's the important thing. If you're going to be high, one of you needs to stay straight and sober while the other person's high. And when you're finished with your drugs, put them in this lockbox so your kid doesn't get it.
Right. Yeah, and they're supposed to get high. They're supposed to parent in shifts. So day
right.
shift for the dad, mom gets high during the day, night shift for the mom.
Again, as long as everybody's the same color, then everything's going to be fine. I mean, it is so absurd. Talk about, Joe knows because Joe's had friends and did. Can you imagine when you're drug sick, when you are enslaved by this addiction, you think anybody's coming up with a plan? The kid's not being fed.
No.
They're not being changed. They're not being cared for. Oh, hold on a second. Sweetie, did you say you were going to get high at 9 or 8? Because I was planning on getting high at 1. Oh, I'll tell you what. Hold on. Where's that pen?
Yeah. You mind if I get off a little early tonight?
I'll put you down for 9 a.m. And how long do you think you're going to be high for? Till like what, 11? Okay. Why don't I jump in and start smoking fentanyl around, let's say 11:15. That gives us a little chance to maybe check on the baby, change diaper or something like that. And then I'm going to be high till about 3:30. Can you then start around, I don't know, 3:40? Because I've got a yoga class.
It's like they've never spoken to a drug addict in their life. And there's such an abundance of people who have changed their life and are doing better now that will provide absolute certainty that this is absolutely crazy.
Nuts! Abuse their fentanyl. Hopefully, just maybe, they will remember to lock the fentanyl up in a lockbox after they're done crapping their pants and overdosing and urinating on themselves and puking on the floor, where they then drop their fentanyl or their deadly drugs for their babies and toddlers to get into. This subject makes me want to crawl out of my own skin, Madam Speaker, and we don't have any more time. I predicted every single session since I've been here how many more babies and toddlers would die or nearly die. And when we Narcan a toddler in our streets like I had to watch multiple times just this last summer on King 5, we don't even consider that a near fatality. Are you kidding me? That's nuts.
Okay, so was this all from Saturday? Republicans in Washington State Representatives pushed back on all they had on Saturday, offering amendments in the objections to the majority of Democrats with the supplemental operating budget. So they're looking to cut, right? But they have to put some money, keep some money in there because they know that they're going to get sued. So they have to keep $43 million. Get ready for the kids that have either died. I assume they're getting ready for the ones that have already died or have been injured to the point that they have a case. Democrats who voted with the Republicans, their Representative Maury Leavitt from University Place and Rep. Ann Whalen from Kirkland, and you got Dave Paul. He jumped in there as well with the Republicans from Oak Harbor. Christine Reeves from Federal Way. You got Addison Richards. So a few of them came over the other side.
Not enough.
Not enough. So there you go. So I wonder how many will die this year. But the good news is they're smart enough to put money aside. I mean, that is like,
right.
That's like, Ford and Pinto, the Ford Pinto. Listen, we know that the gas tank is back. Pretty good chance of somebody running into the back of the car and exploding. Well, what's the cost of us having to replace that piece and move the gas tank around? Well, we'll probably end up having 7 people burned to death in this car. It's going to be cheaper for us to pay off the lawsuits than it is to fix the thing.
And $42 million for lawsuits. That doesn't seem like enough.
Well, they're hoping that the people that have the dead baby don't get good attorneys. Just like give them $1 million and they'll go away.
And it's really it boils.
It's so horrible.
It boils down to the term imminent danger and what that means. And they won't redefine it to mean in proximity to fentanyl or proximity to parents that are absolutely
because they don't want to judge the behavior, right? They don't want to make it. Who was it that said this? What's his name? Guy from Issaquah, Rogers. Is that his name? Roger something. Look him up. Rogers saying that it's not fair. We don't want to criminalize the behavior. Yeah, he was talking to Brandy Cruz. What was that guy's name? Roger something or other. Anyway, I remember that from like a year and a half ago. We don't want to criminalize the behavior of a parent smoking dope. No, why not? I mean, isn't it illegal?
Well, it's similar language was used in the city of Seattle when these, the harm reduction groups were testifying in front of city council, and they said, well, we don't want to take away people's bodily autonomy to do drugs in any way that they choose. In fact, we need to provide them the utensils to do so.
Right, because it's not fair to them, right? Yeah, it is. It's wild, and unfortunately, it didn't pass because I guess people felt like, well, it's not fair to the parents, or it's not right, or we don't want to be considered racist, or whatever it is.
Well, and we've talked to foster parents who are getting out of the foster parent business because they have to give these kids back to these situations where they know they're in imminent danger, but the state won't legally call it that.
Yeah.
And that's torture to them.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's, I guess, was that testimony on Saturday? It was just recently Saturday.
That was Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, so when they passed in 2021, effective 2023, the Keeping Families Together Act. Nothing keeps a family together like a funeral. Intended to reduce foster care placement and racially disproportionality by raising the legal standard, removing the child from the home. The presence of hard drugs in the home is not considered imminent harm, and many of the children who have died or nearly died have been exposed to fentanyl and meth. And just to add a heart to this outrage, there must come a time where the drugs wear off and the mother or father realizes that they have killed their child. And then if they weren't already spiraling out of control with pain inflicted on them by bad choices made when their parents were raising them, referring to a friend of mine whose mother smoked meth with her when she was 12. Think of that torture that person now has. Boy, there's another reason to stay high. You come to, you look over, your kid's dead, and you're responsible because of it. And then you might as well just be high for the rest of your life to try to fight that guilt and that pain. But it's nice to know that we're behind you 100%. The state of Washington, good job, everybody. And just congratulations to the Democrats who voted with the Republicans, but no change comes. So put some more money aside because things are not going to necessarily improve. Boy, that's really depressing, Joe. Thanks a lot. You suck, Joe.
Sorry.
You take responsibility for that. Good. Play music so I get to throw in Nate. Don't torture me like that. Here comes Nate checking traffic. Nathan.
Thanks, John. North 5 through Seattle jams up, approaching the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Plan on 40 minutes, though, to get through this. You can save a little time in those express lanes. South 5, we're heavy at the north end of the Ship Canal Bridge down to I-90. Linwood to Seattle, 20 minutes. You'll run into a brief backup as well in Shoreline approaching 145th. Seattle to Everett, 45 minutes now. Scattered backups between Shoreline and Linwood. Bellevue to Everett just hit 1 hour. Steady backup now between Bellevue and Canyon Park. And then again as you approach that Alderwood interchange. Bellevue to Renton, we're closing in on a half hour. Heavy backup from 520 to 112th. And then again from the VMAC down to the Renton Landing. Seattle to Tacoma just reached 1 hour. Stop and go between Interurban Avenue and 516. And then slow again from South 320th all the way down to State Route 16 at Tacoma. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway, still hovering at 50 minutes. And at South Hill, westbound 512, you're going to jam up heading into that South Hill curve over to Canyon Road. Find your pot of gold at Lake Washington Windows and Doors and save up to 20%, plus enjoy 12 months, same as cash financing. Visit lakewashingtonwindows.com now. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Don't wait, insulate. Last year, American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $2 million in insulation rebates from PSE, more than any provider in the state. If your home was built before 1990, you're eligible for recouping up to 95% of insulation replacement costs. Insulate with American Crawl Space and keep your home warm during the winter and cool during the summer.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Why does it matter to members that Aetna was named a Best Medicare Advantage company by U.S. News & World Report? Because they chose a plan that gives them real support, real people, and real care. We show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when needed. We show up with access to convenient care options and coverage that fits everyday life. We don't show up for awards. We show up for you. And showing up for you is how healthier happens together.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
It's cold outside, and if you're noticing it's taking forever to heat your home, there are cold spots in certain rooms, your furnace turns off and on a lot, or it never stops, or maybe your energy bill is just way too high. These are all warning signs that your home needs a blanket. There may be something wrong with your insulation, which means not only are you uncomfortable in your own home, but you could be wasting hundreds or thousands of dollars a year in lost energy. Call Insulation Northwest today, and we'll send one of our professionals to give you a fast, free energy inspection to determine if there is a problem. And if there's nothing to lose, the inspection is free and only takes about an hour and could save you thousands. Keep the heat in, the cold out, and your energy bill low. Call Insulation Northwest today. Insulation Northwest, the real insulation company.
Please ask if you qualify for thousands of dollars of free rebates from your energy company.
InsulationNorthwest.com.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Jackson Hewitt knows taxes are complicated, and with multiple jobs and tax forms, they're like Sonata complicated. Our no surprise pricing keeps things simple. Jackson Hewitt does your taxes for only $149 or less. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back. So what are you waiting for? Hurry. File with Jackson Hewitt today for only $149 or less, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to A to Z Savings, our biggest sale of the year.
Happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with Duralast rotors.
Free. Really?
Really? Free.
I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah. How much is that?
Free with the oil.
Free. Really?
Really? Free. It's part of A to Z Savings with hundreds of deals.
From A to free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ends March 9. Restrictions apply.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Congress is very much divided on the war in Iran after lawmakers met today with the Secretary of State and Defense Secretary. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson says the mission is legal and simple.
We take out their ability to launch ballistic missiles and to produce ballistic missiles, and we downgrade their Navy. That's it. That's what we're doing. It's short in scope. It does not violate the law in any way.
But Washington Representative Democrat Pramila Jayapal says she has further questions after that meeting.
It's unclear how long this is going to be going on. I mean, this is definitely not a couple of days. They've been talking about 4 to 6 weeks publicly. But I have a hard time believing that that's all it's going to be.
Now, Congress is set to vote later this week on a bipartisan war powers resolution meant to limit military operations in Iran. Meantime, as the conflict spreads, many experts are questioning whether regime change can be successful. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey with more on that.
UW professor of Persian Studies Dr. Arya Fani says U.S. and Israeli missiles and airstrikes will not lead to regime change in Iran and will create more chaos in the Middle East instead.
Because we're attacking a country of 95 million people with absolutely no stated objectives, no plan, no exit strategy.
Early estimates say close to 600 people have died inside Iran. Many civilians, 6 U.S. service members have also been killed in action. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Washington's work zone speed cameras are racking up the citations. In the first 10 months since going live, they've recorded more than 54,000 violations. State Patrol's Chris Loftus says the goal is simple: get drivers to slow down.
We needed to do something that was going to change behavior because the behavior was changing, but it was going in the wrong direction.
Right now, the first violation is free, but starting July 1st, that initial ticket will run you $125. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 4:32. Here's Nate Cox.
And this one's brought to us by the KIRO Newsradio App. North 5 through Seattle, you're going to jam up approaching the West Seattle Bridge, and that continues across the Ship Canal Bridge. Plan on 40 minutes to get through this, and now northbound 99 is quickly filled in through our downtown tunnel. South 5 gets heavy at the north end of the Ship Canal Bridge to I-90. Linwood to Seattle, 20 minutes. Crossing the lake from Bellevue into Seattle is a 25-minute commute on 520. You're going to hit the brakes there mid-span over to I-5. It's just 20 minutes on a wide-open I-90. Seattle to Everett, 45 minutes, scattered backups between Shoreline and Linwood. Bellevue to Everett's going to take an hour, steady backup from Bellevue all the way to Canyon Park, and then again as you get closer to that Alderwood interchange. Bellevue to Renton is a half hour, heavy backup from 520 to 112 heading into Newcastle, and then again from the VMAC to the Renton Landing. So you got a little break there in the middle. Seattle to Tacoma is at 1 hour, stop and go from Interurban Avenue to State Route 516. Slows again from 320th to State Route 16, and Tacoma to Olympia pushing 45 minutes. Text the app to 888-973-5476 and download the KIRO News Radio app. Listen to your favorite shows and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Got clouds and showers for tonight, more rain tomorrow, and pretty wet actually for the whole week. Highs will be in the low to mid 50s. Right now, 54 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Start your day with solutions, not problems. KIRO 7 pinpoint weather and real-time traffic every 10 minutes. From downpours to backups, whatever is waiting for you when you head out the door, KIRO 7 News in the Morning will get you prepared. Stay up to the minute every 10 minutes. Watch KIRO 7 News in the Morning, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
Well said, well read, Joe. Please. Here you go, lower. Bucky's Auto Service Centers. Bucky's Auto Service Centers with 16 locations been around. There's no change in the thing. It's just the same
Hang on,
chord.
just give it another measure.
Bar chord. No, it's not changing. I'm sorry. I can't work with this. There's nothing there. I can't do this. It's terrible.
I'll write it.
No, I'll write it. I'll change the chord. No, we're going back to the same thing. No, it's the same thing. No, it's the same thing. Bucky's Auto Service Centers, 16 locations, been around 55 years. Bucky's Auto Service Centers. All right, this is the, was this red-pilled? Is that how this person describes themselves?
Well, I think anybody that has kind of an awakening to...
Yeah, so this is a former AOC climate activist, Lucy Bigger, was talking to Free Press about how she finally decided to sort of wake up from wokeness. Hold on, Lucy. I know you have a lot to say. Hang on. Did I mention she woke up?
So the timeline is that I was at Now This from 2015 to 2021.
Okay.
And so I was there through the COVID stuff too. And I was visible. I was an on-camera person the whole time I was there. So the whole world shut down. At the peak of COVID, it was something like 17%. We saw a 17% reduction in our carbon emissions. The peak of COVID. Mm-hmm. So that's like just like those 2 weeks. Over the year, it ends up being something like 5% reduction. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, the climate movement wants 100% reduction in our carbon emissions. What is it going to expect of our society?
Yeah, we're literally locked in our homes, not doing anything.
And we still have carbon emissions. And so that was the first moment where I go, hold on. I don't know if I want to live in a world where we have zero carbon emissions because I'm kind of depressed right now at home. This sucks and we have no freedoms. And so what does the climate movement, if you take it to its logical conclusion, it's not going to be no big deal. Like it's going to require people to give up their freedoms to like lower carbon emissions. And so that was one thing. And then the other thing was I was very anti-plastic, and all of a sudden like the PPEs everywhere, the masks, the plastic barriers between every table at a restaurant and when you're checking out your food at the grocery store. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've been sweating about a single-use plastic straw for the past 5 years. And now we've proliferated more plastic in the last few months than I've seen in my lifetime. And also looking around, we seem like we're fine. It looks like our society was able to absorb that plastic and the world has not ended.
8.4 million tons of plexiglass was produced during 2020. And remember how ridiculous it was in here? They had a piece of plexiglass here.
I didn't work here then.
No, it went over here. We're all cordoned off with our plexiglass. And so I looked it up to see. That's 50 million barrels of oil. That's what that was, all that plexiglass, in order to make all that plexiglass. So she's being a climate activist was her identity.
We don't have time for nuance. We just have to push for the most extreme narrative because this is a fire alarm situation and the planet is going to be destroyed. So like, we don't have time to think about the downsides of solar and wind. Like, we have to just keep pushing forward because this is existential. And so I subscribe to that, where I'm like, this is an existential threat and we don't have time to like look at the details. Like, like, we just have to get people to care and to be afraid. And because if they're afraid, they're going to change their habits. When I was in the climate movement, I got my identity from being a good person.
This is really interesting, this part of it. So she got her identity from being a good person.
And from being on the right side of history. And so
there's no such thing as right side or wrong side of history. But anyway, go ahead.
I identified with that. And so good people don't question the climate movement. Good people don't listen to fossil fuel shills or defend fossil fuels. Good people don't question the climate narrative. And so this identity of being good, and I talked a little bit about this idea of atoning, right? Because everyone's obsessed with the white privilege and everything. And I'm realizing like, oh my gosh, I'm an oppressor by being a white woman and from America. And so I need to atone for my sins by pushing and being part of this movement. And that is what makes me good. And so if I'm going to leave this, I'm no longer going to be seen as good and I'm no longer a good person. So who am I? And then that's when you have to start doing the work of building up yourself.
Isn't that wild?
Yep.
It makes sense, right? So you're told and you believe, okay, so you're white, you're female, you're probably well off. So therefore you're guilty because in the binary world, the Marxist binary world, oppressed oppressor, well, what category are you in? Well, you better look at your skin, not the content of your character, just look at the color of your skin. And then, okay, immediately you're over here with the bad people. So now you got to do something to atone for the fact that you got white skin. So now you got to go over into the guilty area. And now you got to just be constantly groveling, asking for forgiveness and showing how good you are and all the sacrifices you're willing to make. Because you look at most of the people that are out there marching around at these different protests and stuff. They're like white rich women, or at least well-to-do, or at least women that were able to like take time off of work, whatever they were doing. You namaste out of class and then go and get yourself a sign and march around and scream and yell about stuff. Because that made you feel like, okay, I guess I'm guilty. I'm guilty for an immutable characteristic. So how can I atone for the sins? It's like the old in the Bible. The guys would unclean. The lepers would walk around with bells and unclean, unclean. Let him know they're coming. Or you put on the sackcloth, which is a really uncomfortable cloth. You wear the sackcloth and you have that on to show that you're atoning for your sins. Because, you did something wrong. And here in this case, she just simply being born, apparently, she was already guilty. So she did everything she possibly could. And then she said, I have to give all that up. Then I have to figure out who I am when I'm not somebody who's guilty of by being born white and living as a white woman.
Well, it's like anything else. There is nuance to everything. And it's not, and even just in your description, it's like, the people out there, like there are causes worth protesting, and there are causes, but like everybody just gets painted with the same brush from both sides, and there's no nuance, and it is binary, and it is oppressor, and then everything else that's actually a worthwhile cause.
But look at most protests. Most people don't have time. They have a job.
Sure.
When was the last time you made a poster and marched around?
It's been a while.
Why? Why were you out there making posters and marching around? And what did you get done? What did you achieve? Other than make yourself feel good.
Again. There, if you see me out there protesting something, then it probably means that I've got a really good reason, and nobody's paying me, and no
one's going to pay you. So you would take time off of work. You make a sacrifice. Mm-hmm. You run the risk of not making any money that day. You call in sick, or you don't go in, so you're not going to get paid. So now you got something on the line,
right?
And you're going to make a sacrifice in order to go out and march around with your little handmade sign,
right. And then that should be enough. That should say, if you've made a sacrifice, that means that you mean it, But unfortunately, everybody kind of gets painted with the same brush. It's just like the activist jumping on a cause, and you get one really loud, really annoying person kind of gets all the headlines.
There's a guy, I don't know if he's in New York or not. I think he is, because that's where he goes most of the time. And he keeps track of all these protesters. Yeah. And he's like, there you were at Black Lives Matter, then you were Ukraine, then you were there. and you're trans, and you are no kings. And he goes up to these people and said, so what are you being paid? I know you're being paid. And then they run away from him. You ever seen this guy?
No, not that one in particular.
Oh, he's great. And then he tracks them, and then he sees where all the money comes. And he goes, here's somebody that has a job. They work for the government in New York City. They make $80,000. They work in the transportation department or whatever. And then he's able to track and see how much money they get paid by being professional protesters.
Right.
So they're being paid by somebody who wants them out on the street using them as pawns.
But there are real
legitimately,
protesters.
there are people that make nice handmade signs with glitter paint, and
your
they're out there.
mother-in-law being one of them. She's whether
yes, sure she is.
Right, whether she's
she is an
misguided or not.
old hippie on that.
Yeah.
Yes. I protested WTO.
See,
I was out there.
Hey, you were.
I had my sign.
What did it say?
Free checking.
That's right.
Free checking. That's right. And I got on. My goal was to get on all 5 stations. 4 or 5. Como, KIRO, King, and Fox. I tried to get on all of them. I got them all except for just as I'm about to get on King 5. The guy turns to me and goes, well, looks like just about every single different cause is represented here. I see you've got a sign, and all of a sudden in the person's ear, that's Curly. Get off the camera. Get off the camera. Go to somebody else.
Didn't you work for them?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I got on 7. The guy's, well, you seem pretty excited about it. Your sign reads free checking. Why is that? I go, well, they say it's free. It's not really free. There's a lot of hidden fees. When my grandfather back in the day, he'd get a toaster, or, they would maybe give him something, some steak knives or something. Checking's not free anymore. Free checking.
You're such a donkey.
And then some guy from some plumbers union threatened to hit me with a wrench. Here comes Nate checking traffic. Nathan.
Thanks, John. Let's see. Northbound I-5 heading into Seattle is jam-packed, approaching the West Seattle Bridge across your Ship Canal Bridge. Plan on 40 minutes to get through this. South 5, you're heavy approaching the Ship Canal Bridge to I-90. Linwood to Seattle's gone up a little bit to 25 minutes. Nothing terrible here because we now have building volumes through Linwood. Little brief backup there approaching 145th and Shoreline adding to this. Seattle to Everett, 40 minutes. You're slow from Shoreline into Linwood. Bellevue to Everett's taking 1 hour. It's solid between Kirkland and Canyon Park. You'll catch a little break and another backup heading into Alderwood that starts near Damson Road. The drive through Everett this afternoon doing great in both directions. North 5, minor crowding between Lowell Road and Highway 2. Bellevue to Renton is a half hour. It's heavy from 520 to 112th. Again, from the VMAC into Renton. Seattle to Federal Way is a 40-minute commute. You're solid from Inner Urban Avenue to State Route 516. And Tacoma to Olympia doing pretty good at just 40 minutes. This report brought to you by Closets by Design. Custom storage solutions for closets, garages, home offices, and more. Go to closetsbydesign.com to see current specials or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to learn more. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
I tell you, I know what it's like. Hair begins to thin, and that crown disappears, and that hair loss just robs you of your identity. That's exactly what I felt before I visited Advanced Hair. See, Advanced Hair has got this simple one-day treatment, and they regrew my own natural hair. They do the exact same thing for you. Because if you don't want to be bald, like I didn't want to be bald, and I saw it was thinning in the front and thinning in the back, I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to keep going away. And finally, my brother was like, when do you officially declare that you're bald? I don't know why I was losing my hair and he wasn't. So I decided I'm going to go to Advanced Hair. Do the exact same thing. You set up a free consultation, give you $250, 250 free hair graft. You give them a call at 425-449-8185. You don't want to wait because your own natural hair is guaranteed to grow. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. That's 2 years in a row. You have nothing to lose except your hair if you don't get your hair back. Go to Advanced Hair. Set up an appointment. You'll love working with the great doctors there. 425-449-8185. That's advancedhair.com.
KIRO News Radio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
2 competing budget proposals. Senators want to be aggressive, they say.
Traffic.
We have a stall on westbound 16.
Conversation.
If they pass this thing and Governor Ferguson signs it into law, I think there's going to be a mass political sea change in Washington State.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
They're bringing it home again.
Broadcasting live from the KIRO News Radio YouTube channel. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
At Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation, we make protecting your home simple and affordable. With flexible financing and 20-plus years of trusted service, you can count on lasting quality from Guardian. Visit GuardianRoofing.com today.
Olympic Hot Tub is clearing our warehouse. This is a rare chance to save thousands on in-stock hot tubs and get big savings on saunas and swim spas. Find our warehouse clearance savings in all 8 Olympic showrooms through March 8th. More at OlympicHotTub.com.
John Curley here. Did you know that a new Lennox heat pump is a smart choice for total home comfort? That's right. One heat pump does the work of a furnace and air conditioner. And if your system's over 12 years old, it's on borrowed time and could be costing you up to 20% more than today's ultra-efficient models. Get Lennox heating and cooling for the price of AC. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com. For heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical, call the comfort people. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Nick, did you know this is called quit time? Did you know what that is?
I do not know.
That means right about this time of the year, people quit their New Year's resolutions.
Oh, kind of like last year.
Okay, never mind. The important thing is that both of us made a New Year's resolution that we would take better care of ourselves for each other. And we're holding to that.
We are not flaming out because...
Longevity Medical Clinic. So we get the support of Longevity. We told them what our goals were, and they're like, absolutely, we'll get you in line. So they support me, they support you, and then as a couple, they're making us accountable for the decisions we make. So we're not going to be quitting on these things. I can't remember what your New Year's resolution was around the house.
My New Year's resolution around the house was that I was going to try to get you to start putting things away.
And I was going to get you to actually learn how to cook a piece of chicken.
Oh, well, that's for next year.
Okay, fine. Either way, we've got a team behind us. Do what Nick and I have done. Take a free health analysis at lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Your old water heater's starting to peter.
DayandNight.net.
Day and Night has $150 off installation of any new water heater, including tankless, backed by a free lifetime warranty.
Hi, I'm Bruce. When your old water heater leaks or fails, the damage could be catastrophic. Whether you need an emergency replacement or you're planning ahead before it leaks, give us a call and we'll help you get into hot water again.
Get $150 off installation of any new water heater.
DayandNight.net.
By the way, the dinner with dislikers. How's that?
Sure.
We can do that?
Yes.
Who's in the running for this? So the way this is going to work is you've texted Joe, 1-888-973-5476, Moksha Casino Resort text line. Said something, I dislike something that John says, or I dislike John, or whatever it is. Then you're going to get a chance to come in here. We get a chance to kind of wrestle it out a little bit. And then hopefully Like, hey, you know what? Bygones be bygones, or I didn't think about that way. Thanks a lot. You've opened my mind and opened my heart, and that's great. Let's go get a beer. That would be the idea.
Right.
It might completely bomb. The person may be like, no, I've had enough of you. I'm going home. Right? That's fine.
Sure.
All right. Who's in the running?
Well, Alex is at the top of the list.
Wait, so hold on. Some happy music underneath this thing, Andrew, because I get you.
Yeah, these aren't complimentary.
It's not complimentary. So hold on. I'm going to do the...
really happy music?
Well, yeah, it's the opposite of what we're doing. You're going to got to play the irony here. Okay.
Alex says, I don't like you because you lack the humility to be open-minded. You think you have everything figured out, which plagues a lot of older people who think they have seen everything these days.
Okay. Who's that?
That's Alex.
Alex, okay.
Alex.
That's
let's see.
Alex, one of those guys with those new fancy names. Go ahead.
I think Alex is a pretty classic name. But Curly, there are many things I like about you. Your intelligence is the top and your sense of humor, but then you ruin it all with your condescending and snide remarks. I think I would be a good candidate for lunch with you.
Ooh. Who's that?
I don't think I have a name for that one.
No
He's
name.
got his contact info, but he's on the list.
All right.
Let's see. Dan says, sign me up for dinner. I don't like John. However, we take the opportunity to speak face-to-face and disagree in person, and I think we could both benefit from that.
I think Dan's just looking for a free meal, but I like Dan. I like Dan's style. All right.
Let's see. Here's another one for you. I used to be a long-time listener, but have stopped recently because it's hard to listen to John always disparaging trans people. I think this could be an interesting conversation over dinner. He's likely a good dude, but doesn't understand the reality that the topic has due to religious bias.
No, religious bias.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't.
No. Just I didn't know there was a religious bias was a part of it. I thought it was biological. Okay. Who's that guy?
That's Pops.
Pops?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. A couple good choices there.
Plenty. Yeah. Stacking them up.
So it's what?
Oh, this one was short and sweet. So Jeffrey in Des Moines says, John Hader here for sure. That's it.
Jeffrey.
Yeah. There's more. But
it'd be interesting to see who goes to dinner with me afterwards.
I think all of them will. Because I think it's typically just it's a misunderstanding, and you just say things that
you're welcome in here. By the way, come on in. We love having people on.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to Nate checking traffic. Nathan.
Alrighty, northbound I-5 through Seattle has one of our bigger backups this afternoon, to no surprise, and it's jam-packed approaching the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal. It's going to take you about 40 minutes to get through this. South 5 doing okay. You get heavy there at the north end of the Ship Canal Bridge down to I-90. Linwood to Seattle, 25 minutes, and that includes more slowing through Linwood. Little brief backup there in Shoreline between 175th and 145th. Let's see, Seattle to Everett, just 40 minutes. Bellevue to Everett, though, is a 1-hour drive. It's solid from Kirkland starting at 520 all the way into Canyon Park. You get a couple-mile break, and then thick again as you head into Alderwood starting near Damson Road. Bellevue to Renton, we're at a half hour. You're heavy from 520 down to about 112th, the Newcastle, and then again from the VMAC into the Renton S-curves. Seattle to Federal Way, a 40-minute drive. Your typical backup starting at Interurban Avenue. Tacoma to Olympia, 40 to 45 minutes. It's a little slow as you head into Lakewood. About a 2-mile backup there through JBLM, and then another backup between Lacey and Olympia. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, the first place you turn for the news you trust.
Seattle's new mayor is laying out a big vision.
She offered few specifics.
Engaging conversation.
Has anybody noticed their electric bill? It's diabolical, Ursula.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
They are bringing the Lombardi back to the Northwest.
Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app. Always here, always with you. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found tax relief advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com. or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense, and that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in no time with same-day Wi-Fi. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025. Actual speeds vary. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to the premises by coaxial cable.
Hey homeowners, are you stuck on the credit card treadmill and stressed because your consumer debt and monthly payments are too high? Well, Brock Hewitt here with a smart solution. Your home's equity in the Seattle Metro is probably larger than ever. It's like you're sitting on a stack of cash. Consider a cash-out refinance with Tila Mortgage to consolidate your high-balance credit cards, second mortgages, home equity lines of credit, and student loans, or get cash for a remodel. With interest rates finally coming down, consolidating your debt now may be the best decision you ever make. With excellent client reviews and trusted in Washington for over 25 years, Tila has competitive rates on refinance, purchase, or reverse mortgages too. Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a name you can trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Call Tila Mortgage today, 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
If your home is 20 years old or more, it might be time to have your roof checked. Your roof is your home's first line of defense, and at Guardian, we help it last as long as possible. That's why every new install comes protected with a full year of free maintenance on us. Visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. U.S. commander says the initial strikes on Iran are nearly double that of the 2003 Iraq invasion. Today, Iranian missiles rained down on U.S. allies across the Gulf and in Israel. CBS Evening News anchor Tony DeCopel in Tel Aviv.
Simultaneous attacks ripped through the Iranian capital today and shocked Lebanon. The IDF launching direct strikes on Beirut's southern suburbs. As a new ground operation there battles Hezbollah's campaign of revenge after the killing of Iran's supreme leader.
CBS's Aaron Navarro.
President Trump also said he may have forced Israel's hand to do this coordinated strike that launched this war with Iran, which does run counter to what Secretary Rubio told reporters here on Capitol Hill on Monday, that the U.S. was aware Israel was going to attack Iran, and out of concerns of retaliatory strikes from Iran on U.S. bases, that they had to attack first.
It's primary day in Arkansas, North Carolina, and Texas. In Halifax County, North Carolina, polls will remain open until 8:30 p.m. Eastern due to earlier delays in voting. WNCN TV's Harrison Grubb reporting.
Because of that extended hour, statewide results will be delayed about an hour, with the Board of Elections expecting unofficial results to start coming in around 8:30.
In Dallas County, Texas, an order extends voting until 9 p.m. Central following reports of widespread voter confusion. There's fierce competition in both parties for its Senate seat. There's Republican John Cornyn, Texas AG Ken Paxton, and Congressman Wesley Hunt. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett faces State Representative James Tallarico on the Democratic side. CBS News political contributor Chuck Rocha, whose consulting firm Solidarity Strategies is advising the Tallarico campaign, tells Major Garrett,
a midterm is a different election than a presidential. It's about motivation, because normally 35% of the electorate from the presidential year don't show up in an off-year election. So it's about motivating the base vote, Democrat or Republican. It's the same scenario, to get them to show up. What Texas has proven right now is Democrats are fired up.
The bodies of 2 young girls are found in suitcases in Cleveland, Ohio. A man walking his dog made the discovery. Cleveland Police Chief Dorothy Todd.
This is a priority. This is a traumatic event for our officers, for the community. And, this is just such a tragic incident.
They appeared to have been there for an extended period of time. Colin Gray is found guilty on all 29 counts for giving his son access to a gun after prosecutors said there were warning signs that Colt Gray was a danger to others. Colt Gray is accused of killing 2 students and 2 teachers in a shooting at Appalachia High School outside of Atlanta, prosecutor Brad Smith.
You just had to do one thing and take that rifle away.
Stocks closed down on Wall Street today. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Coming up, dozens now facing charges after a high-profile takeover at UW. That's after Nate Connors at the Real-Time Traffic Desk.
Thanks, Aaron. Northbound I-5 through Seattle is all jammed up, approaching the West Seattle Bridge, across the Ship Canal Bridge, where, of course, 2 left lanes are blocked for Revive I-5. Give yourself 40 minutes to get through downtown. The express lanes are now filling in, looking at scattered backups through downtown. Once you get to the Ship Canal Bridge, it's steady all the way into Northgate. And then northbound 99, another alternate route, but it is bumper to bumper from the stadiums up to South Lake Union. Southbound I-5 looking pretty good. You're going to jam up at 520 to I-90. Linwood to Seattle back down to just a 20-minute commute, even with our backups through Linwood and Shoreline added into the mix. Seattle to Everett, 40 minutes. You're slow from 145th and Shoreline to 164th in Linwood. Bellevue to Everett has improved. We're down to 50 minutes. Still solid from Kirkland to Canyon Park. We've pretty much cleared out now in Alderwood. Bellevue to Renton is going to take you a half hour. It's packed from 520 through Factoria, and then you'll thin out as you make your way into Renton. Renton to Puyallup, 45 minutes. And JBLM, northbound I-5 is bumper to bumper from Gravely Lake Drive up to State Route 512. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good evening, I'm Aaron Granillo. More than 30 people have now been charged in connection with last year's building takeover at the University of Washington. KIRO News Radio's Frank Lenzi has more.
Pro-Palestinian protesters occupied the university's interdisciplinary engineering building last May, and authorities say they caused about $1 million in damage. Casey McNerthney in the King County Prosecutor's Office says 33 people are now charged with misdemeanor criminal trespassing.
If we could show exactly who caused the damage, then we would be looking at a felony case.
But they can't, so all they can file are these misdemeanors, which carry a possible penalty of a year in jail and large fines. Arraignments are set for March 25th. Frank Lenzi, KIRO News Radio.
Police are investigating a deadly officer-involved shooting at a home in Algona this morning. Police Chief James Shrimpshire says the officer killed a domestic violence suspect who allegedly fired on 2 victims.
One was a 14-year-old who was transported to Harborview Medical Center, and the other was an adult female. They all appear to be family members.
Both victims are expected to recover. Police say that suspect was still armed and shooting when officers arrived. King County Council has approved a 1-year moratorium on building new detention centers. Member Teresa Mosqueda sponsored that freeze.
I don't want our communities to lose trust in their local government.
Councilmember Reagan Dunn, one of 2 members opposed. He tells the Jason Ranch Show on Seattle Red.
It's performative politics. We call it bullhorn excess. It's not necessary, and it could be potentially very dangerous.
And stay tuned. Curley has some thoughts on this coming up next. Seahawks Super Bowl MVP may be headed to free agency. KIRO 7 TV's El Thomas reports the deadline passed. to place a franchise tag on Kenneth Walker III.
Meaning, come next Monday, he will be an unrestricted free agent. Of course, does not mean all hope is lost here. The Hawks can still re-sign K9 before free agency opens next Monday. And of course, they can compete with other offers once he hits the market. Different NFL sources reporting the Broncos and Chiefs could be first in line once that bidding opens.
Now to your forecast, looking at cloudy skies and rain in the mix tonight. More showers tomorrow, and again Thursday mostly cloudy. Friday night we'll see some more rain as well. Right now 54 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Hi, you've reached the John Curley Show listener introduction line. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you enjoy the show. Thank you.
You cannot make a contract in the state of Pennsylvania with somebody under the age of 18. So that is a frivolous argument. It's $200. I'm coming over to get the money. I'm sick and tired of this.
What's that from?
It's the car that you bought for $200.
Oh, Henry Fry.
The engine.
Henry Fry.
And this is
sold
your
me
dad.
my 62 Volkswagen Bug for $200.
Your dad called him up?
He's called up his mom and said he can't make a contract with somebody under the age of 18 in the state of Pennsylvania. Then he gave her bronchitis over the phone. Diving into the new. All right, Mucker's Casino Resort text line 1-888-973-5476. Why does Rance get guests before we get guests?
I think he hears that we're having them, and then he snakes us.
And then also has to speak to the character of the individual that is like, well, I'll just, cheat on Curly and spend some time over there on Rance's show.
Who would do something like that?
Don, what are you doing to me? Here we thought we had an exclusive.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, don't feed the bulldog, all right? Here I thought we had an exclusive, and then I hear, over there on Rance. Yeah, well, luckily no one's listening to that show. All right, before we weren't supposed to be on yet. All right, I'm going to set this whole thing up. We're going to go back to about a year ago. Lisa Mannion, prosecutor there, she was speaking to King 5 about the fact that King County had a chance to spend some money in order to be able to give her some additional resources in order to be able to try some of these youth that are committing crimes. Here is the cut from King 5.
Right now, it takes 5 convictions of juvenile unlawful possession of a firearm before juveniles are eligible for services at juvenile rehabilitation, our state facility. Making sure that we intervene earlier in time helps prevent tragedy. It's extremely heartbreaking, for example, to see a juvenile unlawful possession of a firearm, and then their next charge is they are charged as an adult for a violent homicide or a violent assault. To me, that seems preventable.
In 2025, King County passed a new public safety sales tax. The money meant to bolster police, prosecutors, and the courts. Mannion told the King County Council she needed to add dozens of prosecutors and support staff. But the council sent the funds elsewhere, leaving the prosecutor with only one new victim advocate.
One person doesn't begin to address the capacity needs that we have.
And it's a fraction of what you told the council you needed.
It was also disappointing that the data didn't speak for itself, that we are having an impact with the skinny resources that we have, and with a greater investment, we're going to see a greater return on investment.
In that piece, Reagan Dunn from King County Council, they had mentioned that in 1990, 15,000 cases were sent to prosecutors of juveniles committing crimes. 15,000 in 1990. And they said during COVID, most amount was about 2,300. So what you have is you've got kids that have gone astray, that are committing crimes, and then you have prosecutors that are overwhelmed. And then the big question is, where do you put them? Then you have your council member Mosqueda basically saying, I guess here she's introducing the bill. I'll get to you in a second.
This is an emergency 1-year moratorium that immediately blocks the acceptance of permits for new or expanded detention facilities. The measure prohibits the county from accepting applications for new or expanded detention centers, whether proposed as a permanent or temporary use. What we have seen from detention facilities when they are introduced in communities around this country is that the sheer presence of these detention facilities, the increased presence of ICE agents.
Yeah, listen to this. This is really interesting. So what they've seen from studies, okay, here we go again. This is the heart of the matter here.
Around this country is that the sheer presence of these detention facilities, the increased presence of ICE agents, they carry serious consequences for the health and safety of the surrounding neighbors. They disrupt and destroy the fabric of our communities. Fewer people seek medical care. Fewer kiddos go to school. Less people go shopping for groceries. Fewer people seek help from our local law enforcement agents when they desperately need it. I don't want our communities to lose trust in their local government. I want them to see the connection and the stability and see that King County, as their local government, is doing everything we can to further make sure our communities can thrive.
Okay, I'll get Reagan Dunn to respond to that in a second, but I'll give you one last cut. This is from earlier this afternoon in King County discussing the moratorium. Not going to build any places, no emergency stuff. We're just going to stick with what we have. Here is one of the concerned constituents.
Detention centers are indefensible and wasteful allocation of land and resources. Wherever a detention center is built, we're robbed of a future where that could have been houses, hospitals, offices, shopping centers, schools, or playgrounds. Having more detention centers would not benefit the surrounding area, but rather degrade the neighborhood. Detention centers don't just take up space, but cast a long shadow of fear and violence on the community.
Okay, I guess the idea of building some building that you're putting juveniles that have committed crimes into is upsetting for the community. I could get that, right? Like, they look over at it, it makes them feel sort of weird to know right there. You ever drive past Purdy, the women's prison there? The King County's got some. Kent has a jail as well. So the idea is that you've got one spot in King County, and they don't want to include or add more to it. So Reagan Dunn on the King County Council was the only one that I think maybe one other person voted with him to give themselves the freedom to be able to build another place if they need it. Reagan Dunn, who cheated on me with the Jason Ranch show, has now decided to leave. The one place that they do have, which is the Patricia Clark. Is it Clark? Patricia Clark, H. Clark Child and Family Justice Center has about 156 beds. So what you have is King County saying, well, we've got kids that are committing crimes. We need to put them somewhere. We got a couple of options. They can either get monitors on their ankles, they could check in on weekends, or they could go in there to the Clark Child Family Justice Center with 156 beds. So as it is right now, it looks like even Claudia Balducci, she jumps in there and she wants to know, what about emergencies?
If you were not expanding a detention use, like say if there was a flood in the Kent Valley and we suddenly had to evacuate the RJC and move people who are currently being detained in the RJC to a facility that happened to be in unincorporated King County, would that be considered under a moratorium if this were passed?
Moving to a different site would be considered a new facility, and so it would be subject to the moratorium.
Okay, so you couldn't have anybody there. Frederick Washington from ACLU says,
large-scale detention facilities are not ordinary land uses. They herd and concentrate hundreds and even thousands of people in custody, far from loved ones, counsel, and community support. These individuals often have complex medical, mental health, and legal needs.
Mm-hmm. All right, Reagan Dunn, so you knew you were an uphill battle. Were you surprised you were going to get, what did you get? What was the final vote?
7-2. It was 7-2. And I'll tell you, I wasn't surprised. I mean, this is all, as you know, just virtue signaling, bullhorn excess by the far left, obviously making our community a lot less safe.
Well, how is it when Mosqueda said that the mere presence of the building causes people not to go out and get food or go shopping or get medical attention? How does that happen? What study was that she was referring to? Did she share that with anybody else?
Yeah, that's just the crazy left talking point that is sort of almost in line with the burn it all down crowd. Let me tell you what we know. We know that juvenile crime set a record in 2024 after many, many years of these reductions in referrals, the attitude that has been taken by Councilmember Mosqueda in terms of, blaming the system for people's violent activities. Some of them are rapists, some of them are murderers. And, and failing to hold young people accountable. It came down ever so slightly last year, but still, while adult crime has gone way, way down across the country, our juvenile crime in this community is no surprise, continues to be a real problem.
Well, remember, it was Dow Constantine in 2020 said he wanted to close them all, right? Because disproportionately it was affecting children of color, and therefore it's wrong. So he wanted to shut them all down, and then I guess restorative justice programs that he wanted to fund for something like that. And then he backed off that one later, and then left everybody there. So when you were saying when Mosqueda wants to not build anymore, I mean, that's not like something you can all of a sudden snap your fingers and 2 weeks later you've got a building. I mean, you're talking about having a budget set, you probably permitting. By the time you probably have something built, you're looking, like 3 years out on this?
Yeah, at least. Again, it's virtue signaling, it's bullhorn access. She's put that land use tool that she used, moratorium, is designed for urgent, threats to health and safety, like you're going to have a Union Carbide, chemical plant built next to your school. And she's using it to signal mostly, it's definitely sort of defund, disarm, and disparage the police, burn down the criminal justice system. But what she's trying to do there, because that impacts local jurisdictions, it impacts building here. But what she's trying to do is attack ICE by, it's kind of like what Iran's trying to do right now. Get back to the United States by attacking other nations that have nothing to do with anything. And that's kind of what she's doing here to try and get back at ICE. That's what some of the messaging behind this bill today was.
What was I didn't play any of your cuts. What did you get up and say?
So basically, I just said, this is a land use tool that shouldn't be used for this sort of thing. It declares an emergency. There's no emergency. There's no threat to build an ICE facility in King County right now, and it is going to cost us a lot of money in terms of getting sued. As you know, King County got sued by the federal government for closing immigration flights out of Boeing Field. King County stupidly tried to block that, lost badly, and cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm worried that's going to happen again. So I brought that issue up, and I think it sends the wrong message, and a few other things. But mostly it's just really bad public policy to do this kind of work. And the council majority Democrats came along with it because they're so pinned down by the whole ICE issue. But it's just bad policy. If you want to pick on a federal agency, right, write a motion that says they're doing bad things. Don't use these land use tools that are pretty draconian to bar all levels of government from building any kind of detention facility, especially when we might need it in the future. What if the jail burns down tomorrow? What if somebody says, hey, there's a moratorium on jails. If I burn down the jail in King County right now, I'm going to get out because there's no other facility. You know what I mean? It just doesn't, none of this is any good. It's bad policy.
Let's go back to also bad policy. When Lisa Mannion said that when King County put money aside, why did she only get one prosecutor? Where'd the rest of the money go? Do you remember?
So when is that quote? When is that quote from?
That was from about
a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Yeah. Okay. So we gave her more prosecutors in this most recent budget we just passed out. So that's good. But yeah, I mean that money has gone to things like supporting groups who are coming into the country unlawfully, and to provide services for them under what is now the sanctuary county laws in King County, also in Seattle. That money is going to our ever-increasing homelessness problem. We are by far the highest increased homeless problem last year in the state, according to Joe Biden's own data, and it's going to go up significantly this year, I suspect. Next month, the 1 point in time count comes out. It's going to all these social programs and not where it needs to be going, which is to keep the community and keep the public safe.
Yeah.
One other thing, I want to make an observation real quick, John. And I don't want to alarm anybody. As a federal anti-terrorism prosecutor, I had top secret security clearance, and we're at war with an enemy, Iran, and I support this war very much. I think it's the right thing to do, but we're at war with an enemy that will have no gumption about attacking the United States. And now is not the time to be, defunding our Homeland Security Department. It's not the time to be expanding our sanctuary county policies at a time when I'm a little concerned about what might happen in the Homeland over the next month or so.
Yeah. And sleeper cells are just individuals deciding they want to take out their political vengeance on somebody in a bar in Austin, Texas. Here's a grandma from Paulsville writes in, ask Dunn what happened to the fraud investigation. Where's all the missing money from King County budget? Did it get swept under the rug?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are some people that are sailing around the world right now with some of that fraud money. As you know, we worked really hard on breaking that wide open. I'm actually going to be with Yermai Zahalai, the new exec, tomorrow when he's going to announce a whole bunch of new financial controls at a press conference around 11:30, including a new internal audit structure. We're hiring somebody to take that on. So we're going to chase that down. As you remember, the audit only investigated about 2% of that 1.6 billion, right? So we're going to look at a lot more of that. And I just got, Democrats are coming to me with hat in hand. They managed to increase 5 different taxes last year. And now I see we have another shortfall, of course, for the next biennium coming up because they have not done the important jobs of rooting out fraud, waste, abuse, and cutting back programs that are spending too much or not working.
Yeah, it's not just, the fraud, waste, and abuse is the category that people always point to. But it's not just that. You and I, Reagan, have talked about metrics. If I'm going to give you $1,000, you're going to stack wood. How much wood are you going to stack? Well, I'll stack 8 cords of wood for $1,000. I want to see the wood stacked. I paid you for that, right? So it's not just the waste fraud. There's also just generally someone not complying or not living up to what the expectation is for what the money the person's giving the money for. That's the other part of it. But you got to clearly define what the metrics are. I give you $1,000. What are you going to do? And that seemed to be not the case there in 2021, 22, 22, 23, as, close to $1 billion flew out the door. All right, so what's the next battle as we go to break? What's your next thing you're going out there for, trying to fight for?
There's a whole lot of battles right now. I mean, I think the one that your viewer just brought up is really important to me, continuing to identify fraud, waste, and abuse. I've got some proposals that are coming out, including an independent oversight person that we might send to the voters to really root this out. I think if you looked under the hood of King County, you would find far worse. And so we'll be working on that. There'll be more battles moving forward in that front.
All right. Well, I'll listen for it first on Jason Rance's show, and then I'll bring it on my show. Thanks, Reagan Dunn. Oh, no, there's no need to apologize. I know where I am in the pecking order of things.
Dude, you painted your hair blue at a speech I saw.
Okay, goodbye, Reagan. Hey, wait, we lost Reagan Dunn again. Here comes Nate checking traffic.
All right, North 5, we've got a hefty backup approaching the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal Bridge. It's going to take you 40 minutes to get through downtown Seattle. Express lanes are stop and go from downtown into the U District there, and then from there it's solid all the way into Northgate. Northbound 99, we're bumper to bumper through that downtown tunnel. South 5 jams up at 520 to I-90. Linwood to Seattle taking you less than 20 minutes now. Seattle to Everett, 40 minutes. Bellevue to Everett at 50. Bellevue to Renton, a half-hour commute. You're solid from 520 through Factoria, and then you'll start to thin out as you head into Renton. Northbound 405 is now slow from South Center through the Renton S-curves. South Center to Bellevue's at 20 minutes. Renton to Puyallup, a 45-minute commute. Again, pretty solid along the entire stretch from north to south. And Tacoma to Olympia and vice versa, 40-minute commutes. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
I'll tell you something. It was one of the best moves I've made was when I met Dr. Kopstein over there at K2 Vision. You see, I kept going to the doctor like every year because I had to get another pair of glasses. And he's like, you need another prescription. I started to add it all up. I'm like, well, this is crazy. How thick are these glasses going to get? And I started doing some research on something called RLE, refractive lens exchange. Now, there's a couple different doctors that do it, and I just happened to find K2 Vision. Over there in Tukwila, I meet Dr. Kopstein. We talk about golf and a few other things. I thought, I got to ask the uncomfortable question, how many of these have you done? He said, gosh, I don't know. I haven't added it all up, but probably even maybe 100,000. I was like, okay, so I'm in good hands. I know that. And he says, now listen, don't get too excited because I'll tell you to come back in 10, 15, or 20 years if this is not going to have a great result. And right as soon as he said that, I thought, that's it. He's going to tell me to come back in 10 or 15 years. He wants to have a great result. Let's do this thing. And he looks at my eyes. He goes, yeah, they're in pretty bad shape. It would take me 5 minutes on one eye, 5 on the other. And you're going to get some 20/20 vision. And that's exactly what's happened. K2visionrle.com. This is like 5 years ago. I got 20/20 vision. K2 Vision, RLE.com. K2visionrle.com. That's K2visionrle.com.
KIRO News Radio, the first place you turn for the news you trust.
Seattle's new mayor is laying out a big vision.
She offered few specifics.
Engaging conversation.
Has anybody noticed their electric bill? It's diabolical, Ursula.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
They are bringing the Lombardi back to the Northwest.
Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app. Always here, always with you. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Hey there, Dawn riding with Olympic Hot Tub. We're ready to clear our warehouse. This is a rare chance to save thousands on new and floor model hot tubs featuring our saltwater hot spring spas. Plus, outstanding deals on endless pool swim spas, Tilo saunas, and our great selection of pre-owned tubs. Warehouse clearance savings in all 8 Olympic showrooms now until March 8th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub. Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Right now, get a free furnace with the purchase of a premium heat pump and air cleaning package at CM Heating. Start today with an always free estimate. There's no beating CM Heating for heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical. Go to cmheating.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Remember that time we were driving through France and for some reason we didn't have GPS?
Oh, for some reason? That reason would be that you didn't plug your phone in because you didn't have a charger.
Yeah, because I let you borrow my phone so you could call your mother, and you're on the phone for like 30 minutes telling her where we are. But that aside, we didn't know where we were going. We did fight a little bit because we didn't know where we were going. I think that Longevity Medical Clinic is like the GPS for us. They tell us which turns to make. They tell us which directions to go, right?
They do. And now I feel like the two of us together have a clear path and we have more control over our own health care.
Right, exactly. So you don't have to get out of the car and try to find information somewhere. It's all right there. As you're aging, all the little sort of turns you have to make in order to be able to have lots of energy and to enjoy your life. So for as far as I'm concerned, Longevity Medical Clinic is our GPS. Do what Nick and I have done. Take a free health analysis at lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good evening, I'm Aaron Granillo. Secretary of State Marco Rubio updated lawmakers today on Capitol Hill about the war in Iran. He says fighting in the region is going to intensify.
You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the intensity of these attacks.
Washington Representative Pramila Jayapal took part in today's closed-door meeting. She is not convinced the U.S. needed to strike Iran.
There is nothing
Nothing that convinces me that there was any imminent threat, number one. Nothing that convinces me that this shouldn't have been brought to Congress if there was a real desire to go to war with Iran for some set of reasons.
CBS's Nancy Cordes has more from the White House.
Trump was asked what he views as the worst case scenario here, and he said the worst outcome would be if he wages this war only to find that Iran's next leader ends up being as repressive as the last one. That's a concern he shares with members from both sides.
Unrest in the Middle East now causing prices to rise at the pump. Here in Washington, gas prices jumped 10 cents overnight.
Drivers in Washington are used to paying a pretty penny at the pump, but now AAA reports prices in our state are 46% higher than the national average. As of last check, the price of an average gallon in King County is $4.66. Taxes and regulatory requirements have put prices at or near the most expensive in the nation. They're expected to go even higher as conflict in Iran disrupts oil tanker traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
State Appeals Court says Washington can investigate whether the Catholic Church used charitable funds to cover up child sex abuse. KIRO News Radio's Amanda Factor has more.
The ruling came down yesterday and reverses a lower court decision that had blocked the investigation. Governor Bob Ferguson started this probe in 2023 when he was Attorney General. He's calling on church leaders to stop fighting it. Ferguson, who is Catholic himself, says the church needs to do the right thing and give the public a full accounting of how it handles abuse allegations. The case now goes back to the King County Superior Court to figure out exactly what documents the Seattle Archdiocese has to hand over. Amanda Factor, KIRO News Radio.
Let's go now to the real-time traffic desk. Check in with Nate Connors.
Hey, it's a slow roll northbound through downtown Seattle this afternoon. Let's start with northbound I-5 itself with a hefty backup from the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal. About 40 minutes to get through this. The express lanes are a good option, but you're stop and go from the entrance into the U District, and then from there it's solid into North Cape. And then northbound 99, another alternate route. It is bumper to bumper through the downtown tunnel up to South Lake Union. Now, South 5 jams up at 520 to I-90. Not too bad. Linwood to Seattle will take you less than 20 minutes. Crossing the lake from Bellevue to Seattle, 25 minutes on both routes. Seattle to Everett, 40 minutes. Bellevue to Everett, 50 minutes. It's still pretty solid from like 520 in Kirkland all the way into Canyon Park. Bellevue to Renton, a half hour. You're solid from 520 into Renton. North 405 is slow from South Center in through the Renton S-curve. South Center to Bellevue will take you 20 minutes. And Seattle to Federal Way, we're at 40 minutes. It's solid from MLK Junior Way all the way to State Route 516. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
A lot of clouds and showers for tonight. More rain tomorrow. We'll see overnight lows in the upper 40s and daytime highs in the low 50s. Right now, 54 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Wilcox Honey Farm eggs. Teeny's on the ground over there still.
At your order.
I don't believe this. I'm sorry, Teeny. It's just you were in the way in the beginning of the show, and I need to. All righty. Why don't you spin the wheel there, sweetie? Why don't you start to crying, or you find yourself with a pink slip and a brown box?
Come on.
Landed on me. I'd like to take a scrambled egg and add a little bit of, you scramble it. Aaron showed me how to do that. I took a class with him online. It was very informative. And then you slowly put them, scramble it, and then you make it and you eat it. There we go. There's Wilcox Plain Farm egg recipe. I didn't pay much attention. Okay. This music is
like Batman.
It's the something of the bumblebees, right? Larry Ellison. Here, see, Andrew's forgotten he's left the music on. Pow.
What?
Should we have that under the entire show?
This?
Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle, a $320 billion government contract, stood in front of a bunch of financial analysts and investors, and he said, as they say, the quiet part out loud.
The police will be on their best behavior because...
This is surveillance, right? You put a camera on a cop, cop's going to check his behavior, and the person he's arresting, they're going to check their behavior.
We're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras. It's AI that's looking at the camera. No. You can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be an event that's immediately, an alarm is going to go off. It's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised at all times. And the supervision will, and if there's a problem, AI will report the problem and report it to the appropriate person, whether it's the sheriff or the chief or whomever we need to take control of the situation. We have,
it sounds like he's in favor of this.
Same thing. We have drones. If there's something going on in a shopping center, and I'll stop. A drone goes out there, get there way faster than a police car. There's no reason for, by the way, high-speed chases. You shouldn't have high-speed chases between cars. You just have a drone follow the car. I mean, it's very, very simple. And the new generation of autonomous drones.
Yeah, and then you keep going even further. All the cars, so if you want a driver's license, which is a privilege, not a right, there is a device in the car, and there is a central AI data center, and it basically just keeps track of how fast your car is allowed to go. That's all. So you go into a zone at 65, the thing hits the button, and 60. Besides, you're not driving anymore, right? I mean, if the founding fathers had the foresight, they would have also included into their life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and privacy. Privacy would have been included because the emotional, slow deterioration of the individual soul is darkened every time there is a camera somewhere nearby. Because here's the problem. You don't know where the line is, so you always end up self-correcting and censoring yourself further back from where the line is. If you knew that the line is right here, you can't cross a line, most would move back. Let's say they give you 5 feet from the line. Most people, just to play it safe, they're going to be 20 feet from the line, just to play it safe. So imagine if you're driving and you knew there were cameras everywhere and you're going to get a $500 fine, but they don't tell you the speed limit. You'll slow down to whatever everybody else is doing and then just be even a little slower than they are. So now you're following the crowd based upon punishment. I understand the advantage, and I understand if you wanted to live in a world where you don't have to worry about anything and everything's completely safe, because at any time, if you were to offend the gods of AI and this thing could come down there and turn your phone off, or why don't we all have collars on with electrical prods on it, just like with a dog, and you do something wrong, oops, I better back up.
We're getting there. I mean, what's the difference between...
We'll have a great society. You won't have anything. You won't have to worry about anything. You won't be free, because free choice and free will leaves you in a world where, somebody could come up and decide they want to bash you over the head with a stick, right? That's part of being in a free world. But at the same time, you have somebody that comes up to you and you're able to help them, or they're able to do something else, or you as a person grow. The greatest test of an individual's character, and you can sit in a parking lot and watch, did they return the shopping cart? It's the greatest test of American character, or any character. There's nobody watching. There's no laws. Your name's not attached to the cart. There's nothing. All it is you saying, I'm thinking of other people. Treat your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. And just do it. Just be a good person. Hold the door, not because they're told to. Just do it because you're a good person. Hello, smile, return the shopping cart. But don't forget, if that shopping cart is somehow attached to your car, or your car doesn't start, if the car doesn't return, all we do is we become a bunch of robots responding under fear and duress. You never grow as a character. You never grow beyond that ability to be better, because you don't need to. Everybody's afraid that they're going to get zapped or fined or something else. It's all there.
And John, the scary thing is these choices are being made right now.
Oh, I know.
We talked about it last week with the big Anthropic and Department of Defense contract issue. And
Yeah.
they ended up walking away from it, and OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT, stepped in and said, okay, we'll abide by whatever, your rules, which the Anthropic CEO talked about, the Fourth Amendment, mass surveillance, and all that, all this information was too cumbersome before AI, but now they can monitor everything in real time and sort it out and label everything appropriately.
Let's play scary stuff. Like, for instance, okay, society has to pay because somebody decides they're going to eat a bunch of crap, and they're going to eat hamburgers and hot dogs, and they're going to smoke, and they're going to drink, right? So we as a society pay for your freedom, in effect, because if you don't have the money, you go into the hospital, and, we're going to clean out your arteries. Well, what would happen is the toilet would have AI attached to it, and it would know the biological waste product and would be able to tell how much fat you've consumed. It would also tell how much sugar you've eaten. And then at that point, you would be warned somehow, or the government would be controlling where your money goes. And the next time you try to buy something, a hamburger, it would be declined. Now, society would be well served by this because we're no longer having to pay for your bad choices that you make. And that's just them looking at your crap, right? So the same thing would happen with your car. The car would be controlled. Where you spend your money would be controlled. What you're watching, how long you're watching for. So China already has this in place. They're called social credits. And if you get on a subway and you bump some old lady, you're sitting in a seat and some old lady is supposed to get the seat, that costs you credits. Mm-hmm. And then when you try to book a flight, if you lose enough credits, it's like a game show. Yeah. You try to book a flight on somewhere and you want to get first class. No, you can't get first class because you don't have the credit. Or you want to go get restaurant reservation or whatever. You can't because you don't have credits. I mean, it is because they have to control the population somehow. Yeah. Because there's so many of them. So that's the best way to do it. So if they really want, they would be able to have everybody, controlled, and then Soylent Green is people.
But this is not in the future.
I know, Joe. I'm just trying to stay on the bright side.
Listen. This is the three biggest stories right now are this war in Iran,
yes,
this Anthropic AI debacle, and the Epstein files. The war in Iran is the emergency clause under which all these negotiations are being made.
Yes.
We're not going to know about it until it's done. But this is happening right now, and people have to pay attention to this because this is going to affect the rest of our lives and generations to come. Right now.
Joe Walsh has written a book that no one will read. He'll be with us. Can you stay with us over the break for 4 hours, uninterrupted by me?
Good luck, America.
All right, great.
That's
first-time caller line west of the Mississippi. Let's go to Nate. Nate, have you been probed by Bigfoot?
No, but I'm interested.
Nice.
This report brought to us by the Emerald Queen Casino here in Seattle, North 5. We've got hefty backups approaching the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal. Plan on 35 minutes now to get through this. South 5 looking pretty good. You will jam up near 520 to I-90. Linwood to Seattle, less than 20. On Mercer Island, eastbound 90 is unusually slow from the Mount Baker Tunnel to Island Crest Way. And as far as I can see, this is just heavy volume. Westbound 90 slows from the Mercer Tunnel over to I-5. Westbound 520, you're going to jam up approaching the Arboretum over to I-5. Seattle to Everett, we're down to 35 minutes. Just minor slowing between Mount Lake Terrace and Linwood. Bellevue to Everett's at 50 minutes. It is solid from 520 to 527 in Canyon Park and still really thick through Kirkland. Bellevue to Renton, a half hour, solid from 520 into Renton. And if you're heading out toward Redmond, we've got heavy backups through downtown Redmond, and this has eastbound 520 heavy from Overlake. Get ready for a night of hard-hitting MMA excitement with WFC 190, April 25th at the Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. KIRO Newsradio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Now, if Nate were better organized, he would know where he keeps his cough drops. And he would have a special cabinet just for that, or a closet or something. Closets by Design would come in here to KIRO Radio. Boy, they could do some serious organization in this place. Because we've got stuff everywhere. And if they were to come in, Closets by Design came in and did the same thing they did at our barn there in Cleellum and gave us peace of mind. Because I got to tell you something, I was skeptical. And when Nick said, listen, let's get a closet company to come in here and redo the master bedroom. I was like, really? How much money is that going to cost? We don't really need that. Just some hangers and stuff. I didn't see her for like 4 days. I come back in and she goes, you got to go look at it. I go upstairs. There are cabinets on the wall. There's stuff all put away. Everything has its space. And she goes, go downstairs and look at the garage now. you doubting Thomas. I walked in there, an entire wall of cabinets, the Closets by Design put in. And I thought, oh, is this one? It costs a lot of money. No, Closets by Design, truly customized, but now with big prices, 40% off, plus an additional 15% off and 18 months financing and free installation. 1-800-BY-DESIGN. 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's closetsbydesign.com.
KIRO Newsradio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
Two competing budget proposals. Senators want to be aggressive, they say.
Traffic.
We have a stall on westbound 16.
Conversation.
If they pass this thing and Governor Ferguson signs it into law, I think there's going to be a mass political sea change in Washington State.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
They're bringing it home again.
Broadcasting live from the KIRO Newsradio YouTube channel. KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to A to Z Savings, our biggest sale of the year.
Happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with Duralast rotors.
Free? Really?
Really? Free.
I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah. How much is that?
Free with the oil.
Free? Really?
Really. Free. It's part of A to Z Savings with hundreds of deals.
From A to free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ends March 9. Restrictions apply.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
At Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation, we know that keeping your home watertight and dry
is essential to your family's safety and comfort. Having well-functioning gutters prevents water damage to your home and prolongs the life of your roof. Whether you need a cleaning or a complete gutter install, we do it all. Call today and get $250 off a gutter installation and visit us at guardianroofing.com.
The John Curley Show mailbag is brought to you by Advanced Hair Restoration.
We don't have time for anything, do we?
Come on.
All right, here we go. Letter of the day for take care of all the rest. Here we go.
Dennis in Seattle says, who in the world is Wilbur Mills? And are you saying he was married? Huh, interesting. Fat, dumb, and happy? I beg your pardon, sir.
It was a long time ago, Dennis. Thank you. Rihanna in Arlington says, why did I think they were fake too? Ha, 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 ha.
Voicemails.
Okay.
Tina in the 425 says, Curly, you and I have both flipped Clinton the Bird. You protested at WTO. I flipped him off on the on-ramp at SeaTac when he was giving the WTO speech. I was driving my high loader south to gate S15.
I still feel sort of guilty about that. Damn, John, come on. You don't have a gross voice show?
Yeah, I did when I was sick. Scott in the 425 says, I want to talk to John about the immigrant issue. I have several that work for me. I don't think we are talking about the real issue here. Give me 10 minutes with John. I've been a contractor dealing with this for 20 years. This is something to debunk.
What? Do we have his phone number?
Yeah.
Okay, let's put him in the over there category. Oh, away from Dennis. Jason, get the guest before they... Jason gets the guest before you become his hair?
Jason,
okay, make it hard enough. I can't read anyway, and then
253 says Jason gets the guest before you because of his hair.
Oh, Jason rants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brian on Capitol Hill says, I can't live on my living wage alone. I need tips and work hard for them. I notice people tipping less because they think we're all making a ton from the wage. The high minimum wage actually hurts restaurants and bars, and it's why you see them go under. I'd rather make less per hour and still have a job.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Ivan in Emmons says, if I have dinner with John, will he cover the 20% tip? I tip 30 over there at the pizza place.
Nice. Josh in Auburn says, I've been working and dealing with a bunch of traffic and late loads today. Wow, what the heck did I miss? Why is everyone mad at John? Why is everyone going to have dinner with John?
What a load. Dragon Mountain Vernon says, oh my gosh, I'm Valley Girl climate activist. I hope global warming doesn't flood my valley.
Christy in Oregon says, John, you were really upset yesterday for people who couldn't find Iran on a map. You need to learn how to pronounce it. It's Iran, not Iran.
Iran.
Yeah. Now, let me get this one, too. Lynn in Snohomish says, if our leaders were worried about the cost for Iran, missiles, etc., how about showing us where the money is spent on the Climate Commitment Act and gas tax? How about an audit on DHS where audits are happening in Minnesota? Daycare audits on cost? Ask them about the cost.
Yeah. What a load. Thank you, Lynn. What a load.
And now it is time for the letter of the day.
Brad in Bremerton brings us this one. He says, John, I remember the psychic prediction segment that you did around New Year's Day. The psychic said there were going to be big problems in March, and some of the problems would come to an end before summer. Could they be right with the Iran war? Got me thinking. I think it may have been Skip and Sharon from Psychic Spectrum. Ooh, spooky.
We'll have to check that.
Yes.
In the meantime, first-time caller line wide open.
That's all she wrote.
So a guy with an English accent has written a book no one's going to read. Will speak for 3 hours uninterrupted. But first, here's Nate with traffic.
Thank you, Johnny. North 5 through Seattle, still looking at hefty backups. Approaching the West Seattle Bridge across the Ship Canal. It's about 35 minutes still to get through downtown. South 5 will jam up at 520 at I-90. Linwood to Seattle will take you 20 minutes, including more backups there up in Linwood. Seattle to Linwood, 25 minutes. A little slow through Linwood, and that's it. Bellevue to Everett at Bellevue to Linwood at 40 minutes. It's solid from 520 to 527 in Canyon Park. Bellevue to Renton, still hovering at a half-hour commute. It's packed at Northeast 8th and Bellevue through Factoria, and then from there, you'll thin out, but it's still crowded all the way into Renton. North 405 slows from South Center through the Renton S-curves. South Center to Bellevue, we're up at 25 minutes. Seattle to Federal Way is a half-hour commute, and Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway, we're down to just a half hour. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Perungo and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo.
Your best source for local news.
Newly released police video shows the arrest of a 17-year-old.
KIRO News Radio.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Hey there, Dawn Riding with Olympic Hot Tub. We're ready to clear our warehouse. This is a rare chance to save thousands on new and floor model hot tubs featuring our saltwater hot spring spas. Plus, outstanding deals on endless pool swim spas, Tilo saunas, and our great selection of pre-owned tubs. Warehouse clearance savings in all 8 Olympic showrooms now until March 8th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
KIRO News Radio, the first place you turn for the news you trust.
Seattle's new mayor is laying out a big vision.
She offered few specifics.
Engaging conversation.
Has anybody noticed their electric bill? It's diabolical, Ursula.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
They are bringing the Lombardi back to the Northwest.
Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app. Always here, always with you. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Whether you've done some preparation already or you're just beginning to plan for your retirement, it's never too late to make sure you have everything covered. Elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayich joins me. You have an opportunity coming soon that will help answer some important questions, don't you?
We do. And every month we take 3 or 4 opportunities to go to the communities and educate people about what proper retirement planning is. The notion of retirement planning around having a hodgepodge plan, working with a financial planner, a lawyer, a CPA, a doctor, those pieces by themselves are not going to give you the results you want in retirement.
And you and the LifePoint Law team want to teach us about the Safe Harbor Trust?
They do. The single biggest financial threat in retirement is an uncovered medical illness. A Safe Harbor Trust, it should be a must in most of these estates, but is not.
Be part of the next seminar in Tacoma on March 10th, Bellevue on the 12th, Federal Way on the 14th, and Everett March 17th. Learn more and secure your space at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
High five! Up top! Dave's company just got the 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Yeah! It's 5 years of gig speed internet, advanced security, and a great rate that won't change. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Heck yeah! He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread. Yes! The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee. Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping.
Woo! For a limited time, now through March 29th, switch to Comcast Business to lock in your rate for 5 years and get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Or ask how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Don't wait. Call today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. Paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account required. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma.